Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Starmaker Bolin show, but there's no Starmaker Bolin here right now. So we're going to call it the Bob and Train show or the Train and Bob show.
Bob Train.
It's the Bob Train. So your show's got a little bit of momentum going now. Your own little podcast. Starting to get a little bit of that. You're doing another show on Friday, I thought I saw.
Yeah, it'll be a recorded show.
A recorded show, okay.
Yeah, it'll drop tomorrow. So every Wednesday live, every Friday recorded.
All right. Well, we have got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, but Kenny has brought us a guest. We're going to go ahead and not keep our guest waiting because, unlike Kenny, we actually like to do things on time. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the promoter of SICW, a St. Louis area icon, host and master of ceremonies of a FanFest that's been going on for, I think, 3 years now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the great Herb Simmons. Herb, welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thank you for having me on there, you and Train. And if Kenny doesn't join us, that's even better.
He definitely get more words out.
Yeah, we'll get more words because you know how he's never lost for words. And then he wants to know why I banned him from the show. He was supposed to send me his appearance fee. And he tried to explain to me, no, I had that backwards. I said, well, I do with everybody else, but you have to pay me. So
exactly.
That might be why he's not showing up tonight.
It could be. He may charge you an appearance fee to be on the show.
So
let's talk about your big show coming up. You're doing the FanFest again this year. What's that scheduled, and when? Give us some of the big name guests that you got coming in.
Well, it's this is FanFest 3. Everybody said I was nuts when I did 1 and nuttier when I did 2, and now they think I'm really nuts. We're doing FanFest 3, but it's on May 16th and 17th at the Hilton Hotel at the St. Louis Airport. A new location this year, a lot easier for the guests coming in from out of town. They can get off their plane, hop a shuttle, and come right across the interstate to the hotel. But I think we got an all-star card again this year, even bigger and better than last year, even though we had Randy Orton join us last year. You don't get too much bigger than that. He was there to induct his father, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., into our St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. But this year, we just announced Dory Funk Jr. Joining us just this weekend, this past week, I should say. But before that, we announced Kevin Von Erich will be joining us, Abdullah the Butcher, Tito Santana, the Boogeyman, Rikishi is joining us. We have the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson. Who else do we have? Devon Dudley, Boogeyman, Missy Hyatt, Baby Doll, Jacqueline, Rick McCord. Just a Dan the Beast Severn, so Sabu, Shane Douglas. So I tried to cover each era of the business. They'll have some ECW photo ops. Jerry Briscoe will be joining us. So we'll have the Briscoes and the Funks back in St. Louis together, along with, like I said, Kevin Von Erich. We've tied this all in with the celebration of the old program, Wrestling at the Chase, that would have been 66 years old this May if it had stayed on television. It started in 1959 and ran to about 1983. So each year we celebrate that. And then we also tie in the annual Bruiser Brody Memorial that we do. Barbara Goodish, the widow of Bruiser Brody, always joins us. It's always an honor and pleasure to have her with us. She'll present that big trophy to the winner of the Bruiser Brody Battle Royal. And then we have the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. This year we're inducting several individuals. Dory Funk Sr. is being inducted, with Dory being here to accept those honors. We have Greg Valentine will be joining us. He'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Ivan Koloff's going in. Nikita Koloff will be with us. He'll be accepting the award on their behalf. Ox Baker's family is going to be with us. We're inducting Ox, which I know he's a He was always the one guy that Kenny always wanted to meet, but I don't think he ever did. And then Crusher Blackwell is going into the Hall of Fame. And then lastly, Butch Reed's family will be with us, the Hacksaw Butch Reed, to accept the honor on his behalf. A couple of local legends we have that's worked with SICW for a long, long time, traveled the road with Brody and Murdoch and guys like that. Ron Powers receives the Sam Muchnick Award. Danny Boy Hawkins receives the Larry Matasek Award. And then rounding out the award ceremony, Teddy Long, Holla, is receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award. So him and Mac Davis joins us. And, it's just a few of the names. So, I mean, it's going to be great. Bill Apter, who I did a podcast with earlier for our Sunday night show. He's going to tell Kenny hello. And but Bill will be there on Friday night. He'll be hosting a question and answer session with the boys and girls that arrive in town on Friday. That'll be fun. And it's going to be a long weekend, and I'll be glad when it's over with.
So what possessed you to actually start a FanFest? There's a big one that goes on in North Carolina every year. This one is actually starting to challenge that as far as just the star power that you're bringing in.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest. I get the question asked, how did I get in this business? This is my 52nd year I've been promoting. And, it's like you gentlemen, you became fans of professional wrestling, and you got the passion and the heart and the drive and the respect for it. And that's kind of what I've done too all these years. Grew up watching it here in the St. Louis area. St. Louis, if you ask Ric Flair, if you ask Ted DiBiase or DiBiase, however you want to pronounce his name, any of those guys that have written these books, they'll tell you that you didn't make it to the big time until you made it to St. Louis under those bright chandeliers in the Coruscant room at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel. Dory Funk, Jack Briscoe, people like that. They all knew working for Sam Muchnick was kind of he was the godfather of professional wrestling. And so I read as a young man, I grew up watching it on a 12-inch black and white television with my mother, who was an avid wrestling fan. And then later on in life, I got to meet the right people, one of them being Sam Muchnick. My good friend Larry Matasek started working for Sam when he was 16 years old. Sweeping the floors, emptying the waste cans. Then as he got a little bit older, he would call in the results from the Friday night matches to the local radio stations. And back when wrestling was wrestling, and
right.
And I got the honor and the pleasure to go to the office with him. He didn't even have a driver's license, neither did I. His dad, Edwin, would drive us to the office while Larry would be doing his work. And he got his first check from Sam for $25 when he was 16 years old. And I've got a copy of that check.
Cool.
So I got to sit in you walk in the office one morning and there's Gene Kaniski sitting there, or Whipper Billy Watson, or Fritz von Erich. And Sam always told us, what you hear in this office stays in this office. If you want to look through any of the files, you can take anything out you want to look at. It doesn't leave the office. So what you hear and see here stays there. And he always told me, he said, keep your ears open and your mouth shut, and you'll go a long way in this business. And
there you go.
I've got 52 years. Not that I'm a pushover. Some of the guys I tell you that don't take my kindness as my weakness, but I'm old school all the way. And so
wait a minute here.
Oh, there
He
goes
slipped in the back door, damn it.
Did I hear you say that the advice to making it in pro wrestling was to keep your ears open and your mouth shut? What the hell?
Bob, did you leave the door unlocked?
Wow.
I thought we'd change the password.
Somebody call the police. Somebody call the police.
Ears open and mouth shut. That is the worst advice I've ever heard a wrestler be given.
Hey, call the police. We just got hijacked. How's my
I wanted to ask another question, but
that was my cue to come in. My best advice is keep your mouth shut and your ears open, boy.
How's my friend? How's my friend the King doing?
I'm hanging in there, buddy.
He was asking about Jerry.
Now, man,
No, he was asking.
I thought you meant the real king. I thought you meant the real king. The one with the crown sitting right here. I didn't know you meant that fake king down in Memphis that also didn't tell me to keep my ears open and my mouth shut. He never told me that either.
Hey, before we go any further, I was telling these gentlemen for you so rudely jumped in here.
Rudely interrupted the show.
Low jackals.
Bill Apter said to tell you hello.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I know you're doing the double header today.
I done did him. In fact, he's probably getting tucked in bed right about now. So
he's
drinking his insurance.
The nurses are tucking
about
Bill in.
9/11 at night. It's 9/11. It's 9/11, everybody.
I had to send him his Geritol to get him to do it. So,
boy, there's one you don't. My mother used to take Geritol, and she might be the last human being I knew ever to take Geritol.
You know, Vern Gagne used to do spots in Omaha about Geritol.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Boy, now the train has been around for a while to remember that.
My mom was a huge Vern Gagne fan.
Oh,
yeah.
So down at the Omaha Civic Auditorium, like she used to go there pretty much every month.
Good Lord.
So, Bob, back to, I hope I didn't take the long way around to answer your question, but
one thing I want to hear, you mentioned about having somebody's first $25 check, and that's right when I popped in. Whose $25 check do you have a picture of?
Larry Matisek's first check he got from Sam Mushnick.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, when he was 16 years old.
My Lord, yeah.
So I was telling you, so now here in 2025, all of those records that I told you that we got to sit there and go through, the antitrust lawsuit that was filed against the National Wrestling Alliance back in the day, I have all those records. I have all the results of everybody who's ever wrestled in St. Louis. They typed them with a typewriter on a 2x5 index card like Grandma used to type her recipes on. So if you want to know how many matches Dick the Bruiser had, who he took on, I have each and every one of those results.
Wow.
I have the programs in hardbound books. Only other person I know that has a complete set of them is Cornette. And I know that because him and Larry Matisek had traded some back and forth. So they each ended up with the other ones. The oldest program I got goes back to 1932, even before Sam.
It's older than Bob.
I'm sorry?
Barely.
That's older than Bob.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah. So now I have all of that stuff that I used to sit there and go through in Sam's office. And on my slow days that I have, which aren't too many, I get to pull them out and take a look and refresh my memory on things that took place. And I get people from around the country calling me, ask me about different results that took place in St. Louis. And I feel good about being able to tell them that because that's history being preserved. So to answer your question about the FanFest, I started, they have them all over, as you said. And they tried one here back in 2012. There was, you remember Colonel Buck Robley. He had approached myself and Larry Matisek. He had a gentleman who the term is, I know you guys refer to, or you've heard it being a mark in the business. He was a money man and he loved the Road Warriors. And this guy brought in 22 of the legends. I'm talking about Snuka. He had the Funks. He had everybody you could think of, Kamala, and but he didn't have he didn't have a wrestling card going. He didn't have the Hall of Fame going. He started off charging like $150 for tickets. By the time about a week out, he was charging $10 a ticket. So he ended up with hardly anybody there for the weekend, and so that kind of shot the wad on that. But so I've been watching these fan fests around the country and people going to them, and I go out to Vegas to the Cauliflower Alley Club, or I go up to Waterloo, Iowa to the Tragus Thez Hall of Fame every year. And this year I'm doing the wrestling show up there for them. Jerry Briscoe asked me to do that.
You know, I'm a lifetime member with Cauliflower Alley, and do you know why? Jason Sanderson bought me a lifetime membership as a gift, I think back in like 07, 08, just before he came aboard as a sponsor on Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then 1 year as a birthday gift, I get this lifetime membership to Cauliflower Alley, and I've never been there.
Well, you need to put it on your bucket list because
I do. It'd be a nice thing to get to do, being a lifetime membership.
I'm actually getting the Promoter of the Year award out there this year.
Well, give me an honorable mention. That way, I heard my name out there. That'd be something.
Yeah.
You can do what Cornette did for me at the Hall of Fame.
Well, if you
Made
send me
me a
that,
oh, you have a stalker. You've got a stalker.
yeah, if you send me that appearance fee,
Oh, Dad, I can't even get my appearance fee. Well, as a matter of fact, I did get my appearance fee. I appreciate it. The UPS man brought me a big check today for $1,000. And Kenny Bolin, please stay away from my event, and I appreciate that.
No, but yeah, the Cauliflower Alley is a great place. If either of you have never been there, you need to put it on your bucket list because, I mean, I have seen them do so much help for our people that fall on hard times.
They helped Rico out back when Rico was down.
I'm telling you, it is, and you don't have to be a worker. You can be a fan to join, but if you're a worker and you get down hard times, I've seen them pay medical bills. I've seen them pay car bills for people. It is a great organization that I really believe in, and Brian Blair is our president.
This is why I might know I'm not in good standings with the Cauliflower Alley, because when I was having some health issues way back, I had applied to get some funds from Cauliflower Alley, and I hear they sent, about like you did, about $1,000 to have me euthanized instead of helping. So that hurt. That hurt my parents' fee.
Well, like I said, I'll check the membership list and make sure you're on there.
Yeah, they might have taken away my lifetime membership. They figured the euthanization fee, there'd be no need for that anymore.
But so anyway, Bob, I said, well, if they can do these FanFest throughout the country, we're going to try one here in St. Louis. And so we did the one, turned out good. Did the second one, turned out better. And we did that at a hotel that was called the Aviator Hotel in South St. Louis. And both years we had a little trouble with the air conditioning, and they promised each year, oh, we're going to get it fixed, we're going to do this. And because, we ended up with a lot of people there. And so you put a lot of people in a small ballroom, it gets real hot real quick. And even though it was that way, people just raved about how organized the show was and how professional it was run. And so then my senior referee, Nick Rednar, who owns the Pro Wrestling Shirt Shop in St. Louis, he said, why don't we do a third one? Why don't we see what we can maybe hit a home run again? And I said, well, I'm getting old. I'm getting tired. Plus, I'm still running all these shows for nonprofit organizations, helping them raise funds. But I said, let's give it a shot. And last year we had about 60 legends. And this year I promised myself we weren't going to get nowhere near that. So I think
what'd you end up doing?
About 35 right now. We've got.
We did 80. We did 80.
Yeah, but again, I could have did more. Guys, come out of the work. Before you got on, I told him Kenny Dory Funk Jr. just joined us this week.
Hey, that's great.
So he always, being a big name that he's always been, and of course I got Jerry Briscoe going to be there. Briscoe's and Funk in St. Louis. There's
nothing wrong with that. That's a draw right there. Maybe they'll fight each other.
And then brawl may break out, exactly.
And then this week we added Rikishi. What better timing with his family getting a big push that they're getting. And of course, Kevin Von Erich is joining us. A lot of people don't know Kevin Von Erich was actually born right over in Belleville, Illinois.
I did not know that. I figured he would have been a Texas boy.
Nope, Belleville, Illinois, St. Elizabeth's Hospital. So
I don't think any of them were born in Texas, were they?
So,
and I would say it's safe to say that Randy is a little busy these days to join his father. I'm sure Bob will be there, right?
Bob will be there. But Bob just did an interview for the local St. Louis TV station yesterday for me. He came over and sat on the ring.
Yeah, is that the one you sent me?
Uh-huh.
Pretty good little spot. Now, who were the wrestlers in the ring for that? I noticed a couple of.
The big guy was my former champion, the Big Texan, and then the two smaller guys been with me a long time, Billy McNeil and Curtis Wild.
I was wondering who the big guy was because I did not recognize him, and but he was the Big Texan in St. Louis.
Big Texan, 20 years. He's done a lot of stuff on the independent side, of course, and he's one of my. He works solely for me basically now, and I got a locker room that don't do a lot of traveling. I got guys in there that were trained by Harley Race, Superstar Steve Fender, Telecon. People like that work for Harley and learn from Harley. You learn from the best,
Well, you said one thing there that touched my heart a second ago is that you do a lot of fundraising for not-for-profit organizations. I haven't asked you to do anything like that for me. We recently became a not-for-profit organization called Bolin Services, Inc., the survival program. I had one person that helped me form that worked for the government. And of course, her job got cut just a couple of days ago. And she says, well, I don't like survival program. I think it's insulting to the Filipinos and to the homeless. I said, I don't think so. I said, I think that's what we do is we help these people survive because we help the people that are struggling the most. I mean, we're not helping people that live in luxury apartments pay their $666 electric bill. You know, we're helping people that if we don't help them, maybe nobody else will. Oh, look at there. Stephen Fowler's a new member. Welcome back, Stephen. We haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. And so, yeah, and I had mentioned to you if there was a possibility if any of the guys would be kind enough to, because John Cena Sr. has sent a few pictures down here for us to auction off. And other wrestlers have signed pictures for us to auction off to help raise money. And man, it would be so great if we could get something with Randy Orton and Randy's father. You mentioned something that you had there with Randy and John on it, with them feuding with each other right now. That would be huge. So anything you can get that we could auction off on our not-for-profit would be fantastic. And man, can you not be prouder of Randy and John right now with what they're doing?
Oh yeah, it's great. And then if you were
25
Bob,
years later,
yeah, if you or Bob would shoot me a text next Thursday and remind me, I'll put together a package of some with the autographs that I'll get from some of the guys, and then get them shipped to you.
I appreciate that. That's so kind of you.
Because if you don't remind me, this old mind won't remember it. I'll tell you.
Well, I know that. I have trouble remembering where I was at today. It was called the podiatrist and Arby's.
Yeah.
Billy Sellers has been kind enough to buy some autographs from us recently. Donald Flowers has bought some. I'm leaving somebody. Well, of course, Bob's even bought a few. We appreciate that. And then that's one of the ways we generate money on here to help our families, the Filipino. I used to call them the Filipino typhoon victims, but after 14 years, they have Lord knows how many typhoons a year. They're always victims of typhoons in the Philippines. So we just call it, a Filipino aid, helping with their electric bills, water bills, rent for those that have it. We've built a few homes. Bob has really chipped in on helping build, got at least 3 or 4 homes there. And then funds we raised from the show to improve homes, and built some of them from scratch. And I'm going to be reaching out to Mark Cuban, Anthony Scaramucci, and Andrew Yang here in the very near future. Scaramucci is supposed to come on a little later this summer. We're going to work on getting Mark Cuban on because it's our 25-year anniversary of introducing John Cena to Mark Cuban. So if I can even get Cuban on for 15 minutes, that'd be great. So we're going to work at it. And Andrew Yang, we've never had on. I don't know how difficult he will be to get on, but he has donated to the show before. But all those donations came before we were actually a not-for-profit organization. So now that we have that and the tax exemption status, I think that will help us with some of the big dogs.
Well, and that's what I do. For all these years, I've been helping police departments, fire departments, park districts, raise funds for their equipment. As time has went on, money has got tighter for these organizations, and being in law enforcement that I were for all the years, I know how tough it can be. So
I'm hoping I haven't got to Mark Cuban too late. He might be broke.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So, but no, we're looking forward to May 16th and 17th, SICW FanFest 3. It's going to be.
You really cut back from 60 to 35.
Yeah, and it may be a little bit more. I don't have the entire list with me.
Well, you already cut me for the 3rd year in a row, so you're up there.
I mean, you still got time if you send that to check in. I can, if you send me your appearance fee.
Oh, so I have to send the appearance fee back that you told me to stay away from the show.
Yeah, last year I didn't send the limousine. You said.
Well, I think you sent it, but there was Bob. What year was it that Virgil and Dutch got my limo? Was that 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Now Bob's mic is extra high. Coltrane's is extra low. If anyone's hearing that out there,
turn that down.
Can you hear me now?
I'll turn mine down.
Bob was a little high, and And Herb sounds like a normal human being.
It's the only way I can get a word in edgewise is to get the mic up hot. So.
I gave you 9 minutes on here by yourself. If you didn't get your shit in, that's your fault.
We had a great conversation for 9 minutes.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. And until I heard this horrible advice, keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Okay.
Where would I be if I kept my ears open and my mouth shut? Broke, penniless.
Kind of like today.
Yeah. What's changed, right?
I got good hair, son. You better shut up.
It's wrestling, man. Come on.
I got good hair, just not on top of my head.
Yeah.
Well, let's not brag.
One name I forgot to mention was Devon Dudley. He's going to be with us.
Oh, is Devon going to be there? We'll say
Devon's going to be there. And Abdullah's going to be there.
Now, what about the good one of the Dudleys? Is he going to be? Oh, that is the good. Devon is the good.
Yeah.
I got to make. The reason
he does twins wrestling too now, doesn't he?
The reason I say that, we were backstage at Rupp Arena once, and I mistakenly called Bubba Ray Devon, and he got hot. I didn't even know Bubba Ray knew who I was. It was Dan the Beast Severin's last night in the WWE at Rupp Arena, and he went out there and tore the house down. Cornette says, man, if he'd wrestled like that on all the other shows, Dan the Beast would still be here with us. So the Dudleys go out at Rupp Arena and do like a 36-minute house show. Fantastic. I forgot who they worked, but Cornette said they tore the goddamn house down. Just an awesome match. So, and I saw some of it from the curtain. So when they come back, I said, man, Devon, that was a hell of a match. And Bubba looks at me, and I didn't even know he knew who I was. He says, Bolin, how long you been in this business? And you don't know my name? What the hell? So Devon looks at Bubba, goes, hey, at least he remembered the good one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Dan the Beast is going to be with us also.
Oh, is he going to be there too?
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell him I said hi. And the reason I'm going to say hi to him is I took the first 3 belly to back suplexes I took. All 3 were from Dan the Beast Severin in 3 different companies.
Yeah. Dan's a good guy. He comes in. I've had him in quite a few different times. And of course, Teddy Long and Mac Davis, they'll be joining us again. And they always do a great
Not Mac Davis, the singer.
Well, he can sing.
Well, there you go. I guess he is Mac Davis.
Yeah, he can do a good job. And I was telling them guys that Teddy's getting the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, that's pretty cool. Teddy has certainly accomplished quite a bit in his lifetime in professional wrestling, without a doubt. And a lot of people forget that he basically started as a referee, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He started out sweeping the floors. Okay, he did everything.
Did he do ring announcing even before then? See, I didn't even know that.
No, ring crew.
Ring crew.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's a lot of them started. Now, here's the thing that I'm supposed to be embarrassed to say, but I'm not. Me or my son, I did 32 years. My son was in 5 or 6 years. Neither of us spent a day on the ring crew. That was not now. Cornette knew how to put up a ring and everything. He knew
all the barbed wire matches.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Nope.
And,
I never served a day on a ring crew. I couldn't a bit more tell you how to put a ring together than the man in the moon.
Yeah. Greg the Hammer Valentine will be with us.
I've met Greg, but it's been a long time ago. I met him down in Texas.
Yeah.
At those early shows they used to do with Cornette down there that were at Texas Stadium. And for those of you a lot of you have been writing me saying that Jimmy mentioned you on his show, and he sounded kind. He was talking about how the round mound of sound, Kenny Bolin and Kryptonite Crony, and he sounded like he missed you, Kenny. Well, Jimmy, I don't know if he has any of my numbers, but he knows how to get a hold of me. And if Jimmy ever wants to reach out to me and talk about why we haven't spoke for 7 years, he's welcome to call me.
He might have lost his Rolodex, though.
He still got a Rolodex, I can promise you that. Either that or a whiteboard.
Well, but let's be fair about this now, that phone line goes both ways.
And Mr. Herb, I will, Bob, how many times have I reached out to Jimmy on this show and called him on the show so everybody knew that I was doing it?
Several times live. The last when Jimmy's puppy dog died.
Jimmy's dog passed away. I called him.
2 Christmases.
I called him when Bobby Eaton passed away. I've called him how many Christmases in a row?
At least 2.
At least 2.
At least 2 or 3. Yeah. And I've reached out to him many times. It is his
You can leave
turn.
messages.
I have left messages, damn near crying in one of them over his dog and Bobby Eaton. So Herb, I've done my fair share of reaching out.
Okay, well then I apologize because
and you should, sir.
There's one thing I can tell you. And I know you know this, life is short. And when two people, friends that went through the stuff that you guys, I mean, the last time I saw you guys together was down at Bert Prentice's.
Oh my God, so much fun!
Wow.
Yeah, and you would drive. You were in that Cadillac Lincoln or Town Car is what it was, I think.
I was in the Lincoln Town Car then. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was when Terry Funk was there. Him and Lawler.
Oh my God, that was when Lawler tried to set Funk on fire at night. Yeah. And several minutes after the match, most of the fans had gone home. You could hear Funk down in the locker room, and I'm just going to say what he said. That son of a bitch tried to set me on fire.
Yes, he did.
So Funk finally comes up to meet us, and he's still literally hot because his hair caught fire and they couldn't get it out.
Yep.
And Lawler didn't seem awfully apologetic about it. So,
and Bert was sitting over there counting the money.
Yes, Bert was sitting over there counting the cash. And I got to thank Bert for what he did for me that night. I had never got to meet Lance Russell and Dave Brown together. I had seen them. I've never met Dave Brown. And Lance, I had only really seen at Rupp Arena a few times and maybe once or twice at Louisville, but never had a conversation with him. And when I got there, he set me and my son up with a private meeting with Lance and Dave. And I didn't ask for it. They just, man, I know this will mean a lot to you. Kenny, I got something special for you. Follow me. And we went down some stairs and he took me to where Lance and Dave were. And man, that was so nice of him to do that. Yeah. And I always thought the world of Bert Prentice.
Yeah, he was one of a kind.
And Teammaker makes a good note here. It ain't like he can't find me. He has been in this house a few times.
Well, he's got a parallel park.
He's got to learn how to parallel park, but if he does that, but I do have a handicap spot out back. He's welcome to borrow. He can park back there if he wants.
Yeah.
Billy, why are we talking about NASCAR?
It's Billy.
You trying to get heat? Are you
trying to 30 years ago, I actually bought a book that Bert Prentice and Percy Pringle wrote.
Speaking of NASCAR, that's what I. Go ahead.
No, it's Inside Secrets on How to Get into Pro Wrestling, and that was 35 years ago. But
really?
Percy Pringle and Bert wrote that. Remember, it was $15 with shipping and handling. You had to wait 6 to 8 weeks. Good old days.
Yeah. But I saw the comment about the NASCAR. That's what we're doing now. I tied up with NASCAR last year, and man, I wish I'd have met them.
I had a feeling you did. That's why I had to rivet just a little bit.
I wish I'd have tied up with them 20 years ago.
I bet a lot of wrestling fans go to NASCAR events.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the first show we did out there last year. We had 80,000 fans.
80,000
fans at Worldwide Technology.
Who was your main event for that show?
Just my local guys. We had, the thing about NASCAR is
they felt like Lawler versus Funk that night, didn't they? Bruiser versus Brody.
It was great, I'll tell you. And we did 3 shows last year, and I got 3 shows scheduled for him this year.
I got a question for you, and I literally do not know the answer to this. And I'm going to ask 2 questions. The first one: how many matches did Dick the Bruiser work in his career?
Well, now you're going to make me get the records out. I mean, I
figured you might have it memorized.
I don't have him in his career. I have him how many he wrestled in St. Louis.
Okay, how many? Just out of that?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to pull the records and see.
All right.
I can do that. I'll get you an answer for that. Yeah.
All right. And the other question I have is, did Bruiser and Crusher ever fight each other? If it did, I never saw it.
I never did see it. Never did see it.
Who wins that in a shoot fight?
Probably Bruiser.
Bruiser was that damn tough, huh?
Bruiser was tough.
Yeah. And Spike Huber was his son-in-law. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just talked to Spike last week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? How's he doing?
Doing good. Him and
he did very well in Memphis for a good period of time.
Yeah, he did. Well, and of course, then when Dick blackballed him, I was the only one that was working him.
I didn't know that happened. Was that over the daughter stuff?
Yeah, that's when they split up, and of course they're back together. They've been together, and
I didn't know that. But I'm learning all kinds of stuff
in
here.
Fact, they were at our FanFest last year. And Michelle came in and. They just called me last week. I got the Dick the Bruiser TV library, and still on the TV reels, the 1-inch reels, and I'm slowly getting it digitized. So, but they got some more items that they're wanting to see if I'm interested in, and but I got the tapes from Louise, Dick's widow, before she passed away, and.
Bob, we must have not have mentioned anything about donations tonight, have we?
apparently,
because we don't have it. Because we don't have it.
we have a guest.
We got Herb Simmons out here doing a fantastic job, and we have no donations tonight. A couple of things we're trying to raise money for. Honey Rose needs about an additional $40 assistance to get her graduated, get everything she needs for that. We're also helping Jasmine with her graduation. I'll get it right in a minute. Graduation. They're both seniors this year, getting ready to graduate college. $40 doesn't do much for you in America for your graduation, but in the Philippines, it does a lot. Eunice's family, we've been helping a little bit. Their pay got held up a couple of weeks. Her mother's been working hard, but they held her pay up for a couple of weeks, so they're running short on a few things. So, guys, if you're having a good time watching the show tonight, and if you got $5, $10, $20, whatever you can do to help our families out, that's why we do the show. And I'm a little amazed here that they've been on 36 minutes. You got the great Herb Simmons on here telling all these great stories, and nobody has reached up in their pocket or their PayPal card or their Venmo card or their Cash App card to make a donation. So let's see what we can do to help these families out. If we can raise $120 tonight, that would be great. So let's see what we can do, guys, in all seriousness. For those of you that can, if you can't, I certainly understand. Quit watching this show and go out and get a job. But if you can, like I said, even all the small donations add up. Hello from Saudi Arabia. Yep, that's my girl. That's Mango, isn't it?
Yep.
It's Mango Jennifer from Saudi. So now we're officially worldwide here, Mr. Simmons. And we got Paul RJ from Australia watching the show. We got Mango Jennifer from Saudi Arabia by way of the Philippines.
Canadian to jump in. We got a real international show.
What's that now?
I said Canada, but
we have our first. We just had to yell at them a little bit tonight, and we punked out Jaded Zen Entertainment with a $15 donation. So that's actually the co-host.
Get the ball rolling, baby.
Herb he had to punk out his co-host to get a donation rolling in here tonight.
Generous.
Nothing wrong with that. I had a very successful week booking appointments for brides and grooms. I booked 7 hotels, and one of them was 11 days, which every 3 days is the equivalent of a hotel. So I had a very successful hotel week. We'll see how I get paid on that, which I've already yelled at my boss about. Like, you better treat me like I booked 10 hotels this week, because that's about the equivalent of what it was.
Yeah, somebody left back to the clock.
We'll see how it goes. Payday's Friday. Payday's Friday. And let's see here. So yeah, any of y'all watching the show, if you got a few extra bucks, it was nice of Jaded Entertainment to get the donations rolling tonight. TC from the NC wrote me, said that he's hitting a lot of dead spots. He's out on the road. He may watch the show delayed tonight, but if we could make a roughly 120 to 140 tonight, that would be fantastic, and that would take care of the request of help that I've got now. Bob will tell you that we have sent out a boatload of money. Well, I was out for 3 weeks when I was sick. And but Bob and I both have sent out a good chunk of our own money, helping a few families, especially the young lady in Istanbul, Turkey, that is going through the earthquake. Yeah, we sent $300, but they're going to need a lot more than that eventually. But we're handling that. My focus is on our Filipino families and our Louisville area Metro homeless, which Carrie, who helped me set up my 501c3, she helps me out a lot on that end of things. And as a matter of fact, Royal's Chicken, where I was going, they've been helping me feed some of the homeless victims that are down there. They found out what we're doing. And yeah, we pay for it, but they give us a good discount to help feed some of the homeless that come up to us at Royal's Chicken, because more often than not, we eat outside. And there's a lot of homeless people downtown looking for food. We had at least 3 homeless people come up to us asking us if they could have our leftovers. And so Chris thought I was being a smartass, says, no, you cannot have our leftovers. This is good stuff. We're taking it home with us. And then I just turned and looked, and he's going, God damn, Dad, that was cold. And I said, it was. I said, but what would you like to eat? So, and then we go, we find out what they want to eat. We go back in, tell management what we're doing. And they don't give it to us for free, but they give us a discount because they already sponsor us on the show for ourselves. We're eating free. So what the hell? Go in and spend a little bit of money and help these people out. And they're always very appreciative. And and then I get their names. And Carrie, who helped me set up my 501c3, she specializes in helping homeless victims get shelter, get funding, get assistance. So once we get them their name and how to find them, she helps us from there. So it all is kind of a chain reaction and helps out pretty good. We got another donation here. We're on the way. Donald Flowers is wanting to help out tonight. He has issued a $40 challenge.
Right.
So if we get 2 or 3 other people to match that, we're where we need to be. Donald Flowers, who has also bought some autographs from us in the past. I think he's also in the future wanting to buy the Daniel Bryan autograph picture I've got. And I think we're going to work on that for him to be able to get that within the next 20 or 30 days or so. But $40 challenge from Donald Flowers. So that gets us what, Bob? 55?
55.
55.
So
counting Jaded Entertainment.
So Ken, why don't you do this? Why don't you tell your listeners out there and do an auction tonight, and then let's do an autograph picture from Kevin Von Erich.
Oh, okay.
And one from Tito Santana, and let's do an auction, and let's.
Well, there we go. Let's do that. That's a great idea, and thank you very much, because you didn't have to do that. That's very kind.
And then I will. And then
those are two I don't have. Bob, do you have a Kevin Von Erich autograph?
I do not.
Because Bob lived in Texas, I thought he might have one. I didn't know.
No. Kevin and I get along just like we're like this. So.
I didn't know. I figured.
No, it's funny. We had a funny. I've never met Kevin Von Erich.
I met all the Von Erichs back when I was going down to visit Jimmy in Texas. I met them all, and all were always very nice to me.
I met
especially Carrie. Carrie was always very nice. A different bird, but was always very nice. and of course, Fritz. You talk about a tough cookie. Fritz Von Erich was. Did you ever meet Fritz or work with him?
Oh yeah, I met him in Sam's office.
Oh Lord!
Walked in there one morning and scared the living hell out of me. I mean,
Fritz can scare a lot of people.
Yeah, and then when he talks, it really scared the hell out of you. You know.
I know that Jimmy didn't seem too terrorized. You know, he would kind of stand toe to toe with about everybody if he thought he was getting screwed. I don't ever remember him telling me going toe to toe with Fritz Von Erich. I don't recall that ever happening.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
And I heard something. I was watching Mark Henry's Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. It came up. My son got me on the family membership, so I don't have to see the commercials anymore. I'm watching Mark Henry's, and I managed Mark for quite a few years. Mark, the 2 closest wrestlers that I ever managed that I was friends with was Mark Henry and Rico Constantino. And so I'm watching Mark, and I'm just wondering if I'm going to learn anything. And then I'm thinking, I wonder if Mark was ever scared of anybody, because he was very proud of that strongest man in the world thing. And that's why he left the WWE to go back and compete, because he said they were laughing at me. They think I'm a gimmick. You know, I'm not the world's strongest man. I'm just a wrestler. I'm a fake wrestler. Vince, let me go compete. And Vince told him, he said, you can compete, but there's no room here for the second strongest man. If you go, you got to win. So Mark goes back and he wins. But guess who the one person was he said he didn't want none of in a fight?
Shelton Benjamin.
No. Wasn't Shelton. Even though Shelton's name has come up. No, Haku would have been a good name to drop, wasn't Haku?
Huh. I know it ain't
Ron Simmons.
Simmons. I should have known that.
Now JBL and Ron worked with us at OVW, and JBL was always screwing with me, always trying to pull a rib.
Yeah,
but fortunately, Ron liked me and never would participate, and that was a good guy to have on your side.
Yeah.
And Mark had told me once. He said, "What's Ron proving by trying to punk you out? You know, what is he? And shame on JBL. What is he proving by trying to punk you out? You know, let him punk out. You know, Sylvester Turkey. Let him punk him out.
That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen.
JBL's going to be on my card up in Waterloo, Iowa.
Well, do tell him I said hello. JBL's been on the show, and JBL wrote me and said he had so much fun on the show. We haven't gotten him back on. I don't think politically JBL and I line up, but neither do me and a lot of people that I have on this show. And it doesn't have to be that way. So I hope he comes back on again, because I really enjoyed having him on. He was a lot of fun. And tell him. He hasn't blocked me or anything. We're still good on Twitter and Facebook. So
him and Briscoe cut a promo for my show on Sunday nights, and
did they?
They make me sound like in fact, they say I'm 100 years old.
I can imagine that was a pretty good promo. Would be my guess.
Oh, it's great. You have to watch it. It's really great.
Well, I got one other favor to ask of you. Surely
Now wait a
God,
minute. Now wait a minute. Your favors are Bob. You were
I-
right.
Piling 'em up.
One more favor, one more. Just one more favor. This is the
Now
last favor.
remember
Just
now,
one
we're
more
be
favor.
one more
auctioning
favor.
off tonight. If anybody's interested, we have a Kevin Von Erich autograph for auction and Tito Santana. So if you are interested in purchasing either one of those, send me a bid to my inbox or make your bid here. Well, what should be the starting bid, you think? Bob, you want to start the bid on those?
Oh, I would think that Kevin Von Erich's going to be at least a $50.
I would think at least, yeah.
Let's just start it at 50.
Started at 50 on both and then see where we go. So yeah, $50 is the starting bid for both Tito Santana and
Kevin Von
Erich. And but no, my favor was, being as I have been asked not to attend your show for the third year in a row, creative limo arrangements, creative hotel arrangements, flight arrangements, that all seem to be in correspondence with a wrestler named Dirty Dutch Mantel. Please tell me that Dutch Mantel is not a paid participant of your events coming up this year.
You know I love Dutch.
Don't know why.
No, Dutch couldn't make it this year.
Yeah. Probably because he thought I might be there this year. Because I told him up front, I'll walk there if I have to. Everybody knows that ain't going to happen.
Get to the end of the block and lay down.
I won't walk to go with my mail. I got people to go get my mail. I do not. As a matter of fact, Herb, this is terrible. The mailboxes were several feet from my window. There's a window over there that the dogs go bark at all the time. And the mailboxes were probably strategically placed about 8 to 10 feet away from my window. One day when I was out back recently, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, the mailboxes, there's 5 of them on a wooden slide block. I went there and I grabbed that one. When I realized it would move and that it wasn't permanent, I slid those 5 mailboxes right to the edge of my window to where when the mail comes, I can reach out the window, stick my arm in the mailbox and get my mail. And I wish I'd have thought of that 7 years ago. It would save me a lot of trouble because I'd have to go off the porch. And when you got bad knees, bad hips, and a bad back, the last thing you want to do is go down the porch, walk around to the side, get the mail, come back up the steps just to get the mail.
Get up.
And shit.
And don't you feel better 7 years later?
Well, yeah, 7 years. But if I'd only thought of that 7 years ago, just to slide the mail, but I didn't know they moved. And then I bumped into them once and I noticed they moved. I said, wait a minute, we might be onto something. And now the squirrels get to eat even closer to my window because they all come to the mailboxes to get their peanuts every day.
Wow.
And so now they just walk on the mailboxes, walk right up to my window. They got to where they just peck on the window now.
Disney.
And as a matter of fact, the neighbors love this. For the neighbors I don't like, which is all of them, I open their mailboxes and put peanuts inside their mailbox, and then the squirrels go in.
Oh, it's cold.
and leave the chewed up shells in their mailbox. And I do the same to mine so they don't think I'm the one that did it. Because I don't care. Squirrels are getting their peanuts. So wherever y'all are with open mailboxes, peanut shells everywhere.
Unless they want 30 watching right now.
Kenny did it. He's got the same shit going on. So I hope none of my neighbors are watching the show tonight because I'm the one that puts the peanuts in your mailboxes.
I was going to say, if they're watching your show, you just got busted.
I'm a fine neighbor, ain't I?
Well, let's get back to this bidding. And nobody's bidding up. Come on now. We're talking
Come
about.
on. For the love of Pete.
Billy Sellers says he give us $50 for Kevin next month.
Next month.
He'll gladly give you money for Tuesday.
We'll pay you next month for a Kevin Von Erich autograph today. I tell you what, if it's going to be delayed, what I'll do for you, Billy, because I still got to mail you 2 of your autographs anyway. If you don't mind it being delayed, I'll tell you what, if you will do 75 for Carrie, if you'll do 75, I'll find something around here to throw you in as a bonus autograph. Maybe because I got a lot of Bill Dundee around here. I got a few things of Bill Dundee. Maybe I'll throw you in a Bill Superstar Dundee autograph, which the only reason I'm doing it is I got a few. And Rex Luthor can get me more. If you'll do 75, now next month, are you meaning, this is May, June? If you're meaning June, late May, early June, and we can put you down for 75, because it's going to take Herb a little bit to get them to me anyway. If you'll do that and let me mail all your pictures at the same time, I'll do that for you. Is that fair enough? You're rich. You're loaded.
There you go.
You got it like that.
Not like this. Well, we're not even getting a lot of comments tonight for some reason. We did. Scott
Billy's
Fowler,
tearing it up.
Fowler, did we have anything that you were interested in? We haven't seen you in a long time. Stephen Fowler. I called him Scott Fowler because I used to go to high school with a guy named Scott Fowler. Billy says June. Okay. It's a deal. Okay, Billy says it's a deal. Okay, so we'll put Billy down for the Kevin Von Erich, and I owe him 2 autograph pictures anyway. He bought a Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the Hardy Boys. So I owe him Steve Austin, the Hardy Boys, and Kevin Von Erich, and so Herb, I'll have them by June, I guess, sometime, right?
Oh yeah, I'll as soon as the weekend gets over with, I'll get them shipped to you.
Okay, yeah.
The only thing I need to know is if Billy wants it personalized to him or if he just wants Kevin's signature.
Man, that'd be pretty special. I didn't know you can do that. Billy, you want it personalized? That's $1,000.
Personalized ones cost more.
Yeah, you personalized. That's more ink.
I think you guys are pushing it now.
Well, I'm trying.
We try to.
Now, Bob.
Herb, you're a wrestling promoter, and you know this. There's a sucker Bolin every minute.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. I might be old school, but remember, I'm an honest. I'm one of the honest promoters left.
You are, and I didn't get the pleasure of working with you. You know who hired me, Nick Goulas.
Hold on. Herb is a politician and a promoter, and he expects us to believe that he's honest.
Yeah, I heard that.
There's a difference there, Bob. There's a difference in a politician and a public servant. I'm a public servant.
There you go.
Okay.
So you are a public servant, not a politician.
Billy's just the signature is all he needs.
He wants just the signature. Okay, now Bob, I'm going to count on you to make sure I get a reminder on all that.
I've never seen anybody just want the signatures. You know what Billy's doing? Billy's buying it for me.
He's going to resell it, right?
And selling it for $2.25. He's already got that thing sold for $2.25. You know why? Because he found a sucker born every minute. That's what he did. That's what he's done.
Okay, now okay, so you had a $140 goal you set. Now we got 75.
Where are we at? Let me check. Let me see where we're at because we have the $40
$55.
Let's see what other kind of deal we can arrange here.
No one else has donated other than Donald Flowers with his 40 and Jada's in. So that was 40. That was 55, and then $75 commitment for June out of Billy Sellers.
130.
Where does that put us?
Oh, that's to June though, right?
Yeah, that money's coming in June.
Okay.
One donation. This is Herb Simmons on the show tonight.
So does somebody want an autograph of Abdullah the Butcher? We'll get him one of them.
All right. Those are the options. Blood on it. Tito Santana, and there's another one that I don't have either. Tito Santana, Abdullah the Butcher, Kevin Von Erich.
Wow.
Bob, you could outbid Billy Sellers for that personalized autograph.
7501.
Instead of saying to Billy, it could say to Bobby Bangs, you know.
It's 7501.
Dear Bob. The funny thing was
7501 going once.
When I was doing the podcast with Terry Sims, we were going to get Kevin on, and then Terry got sick, stopped doing the podcast. We never did get back a chance to get Kevin on with us.
Well, I'll be darned. Well, there went your chance for the autograph.
There was, I could have said, hey, Kevin, you want to send me an autograph while you're at it? And he just said, no. There was a funny story.
So Bob has just outbid Billy Sellers with $75 and a penny.
And 1 cent.
That's a dirty ball right there.
And for now, the minimum raise is $25.99.
Bob found another guy named Bob to sell it to for $3.50.
That's right.
My price is right. $1.
So the ones we have up for option tonight, we have Abdullah the Butcher, Tito Santana, and I'll tell you why I love Tito Santana. Jesse the Body Ventura used to make fun of him on all the WWE shows. He said, whatever you do, don't go have tacos down at Chico Santana's taco stand because you get a thing called Chico's Revenge.
Don't call me Chico.
You ever hear the story about why he's from Tacula, Mexico?
No, huh?
It's not a real city. It's actually Toluca, but every time he told Howard Finkel, he mispronounced it. So then it just became Tequila after a while.
It just became, well, I like tequila better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it
as a
sounds
matter
cool.
of fact, and Bob might know this better than me, is Oil Trough, Texas a real city?
No,
I don't think it is.
it is
No.
not.
Hey, Google, where is Oil Trough, Texas?
There is an Oil Trough,
Kenny.
Arkansas.
I found a couple places near Texas. The first one is Approved Oil Services LLC. The second
Well, I
one-
did it.
It's like
Actually,
street.
there is an
They gave me two
there-
gas stations.
there is an Oil Trough, Arkansas, but there's no
I'll be
Oil
darned.
Trough, Texas. Yeah.
Okay, I thought Dutch told me that there was no such place as Oil Trough, Texas, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I was on that show. He did say that.
He did say that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, you'd have to remember that.
Well, so I've been messaged here on the side, someone
Yeah.
calling foul that you just gave this to Billy at 75
Gave
without letting him this other person have
Well,
a chance.
if somebody else wants to
And I
outbid
told
him,
him, all you got to do is just put your bid in the chat. Let us know about
yeah,
it.
you, and I already know who probably wrote you on the side who hasn't donated $2 on this show in 6 months.
Lunda?
No, it is not who you think it is.
Not that person.
Because I don't know this name from the
Oh.
chat. So
Well, all right. Well, what's your bid? What's your bid? Because the top bid's $75.01. Because maybe Billy would just as soon have Tito Santana, or maybe Abdullah the Butcher. Maybe
now,
Billy- maybe
if
we
you
can
ask
motivate
if you ask Tito to Santana to sign it as Chico Santana
Billy.
to Jesse with love,
There you
Chico
go.
Santana.
Hey, tell that guy that wrote you that we'll get him a picture for $75 also.
Yeah, we'll get two
well,
of them.
yeah, we can get two. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want one. So that's so we'll get two.
Well, we do that, and now we've reached our goal.
There we go.
Well, then I get a bonus then, don't I? Wait a minute. What am I in church?
Exactly.
If I'm in a not-for-profit organization, then you're in a not-for-profit organization.
I thought I was in church, man. Everybody went quiet.
Speaking of church, how about the Pope situation today? Now, and I'm sure that I'm very much unlike most everybody that either watches the show. I'm pretty much a lifelong atheist, but I have to admit it did get my attention because my son's Catholic, daughter-in-law's Catholic, ex-wife was Catholic, her new husband, shit, they've been married for 20 years. Her husband's Catholic, 25 years, I think. So I know a lot of Catholics. I know a lot of Baptists. Jason Sanderson, my dear friend, is Catholic. Anthony Scaramucci, devout Catholic. So I know a lot of Catholics. What do y'all think? Because I did not know this, because it's not like it's something I keep up with. That out of 267 popes, this is the first one from America, and it happens to be from Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, Kenny was hoping he was going to be elected Pope, I heard, but
No, that was Trump that wanted to be the Pope, not me.
I hear this Pope
No,
don't like Trump at all.
Trump-
put out a
Trump
picture of
wanted
me
to be
and
the
Pope.
Pope. No, Trump wanted to be the Pope.
I saw the
Oh, he
Pope and I saw the
succeeded, yeah.
Pope. I saw both pictures. I did see those.
I hear the Pope is not a Trump fan at all.
I just heard that today. I heard
Yeah.
that today. Now this is what I had heard. Some of y'all are going to get mad at me, but I'm going to do it anyway. I had heard that if the white smoke comes out, we have not elected a Pope.
It's other way
The
around.
black smoke comes
The
out.
black smoke.
No, I'm sorry. The black smoke comes out. We have not elected a Pope.
Right.
If the white smoke comes out, we have elected a Pope. But do y'all know what the red smoke means? Because I heard this last night.
That one of the
They all
Cardinals
got food
fell into
poison.
the yeah.
No, you're close. It's that one of the altar boys fell into the flames, and the red smoke means the altar boy didn't agree to keep his mouth shut.
There's no NDA in place.
That was Stephen Colbert, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Colbert. For those of you getting mad at me, Stephen Colbert got a lot of laughs out of that show last night. Not so
And the
many.
fake outrage drones probably too.
A lot of maybe a couple of those. Oh, and Stephen Colbert pulled a dirty trick last night. They kept watching the pizza place next door, and they were seeing if the pizza place had white smoke or black smoke. So they keep panning over there. Black smoke comes out. Oh, we must have pizza. So one of the staffers brings in one pizza for a studio audience of 350 people, So when they go to commercial break, Colbert goes down the front row, gives the one large pizza to like 5 people in the front row. 350 other people get no pizza. Would it have killed him to order pizza for the host studio?
Well, I mean, how many Cardinals were there? Only one of them got to be Pope, right?
133.
So all the other Cardinals did not.
Here, the old atheist over here just throwing stats and figures at you. 267 history. No Americans until today. I was rooting for the Filipino for obvious reasons, because Filipinos would have been so happy. And those are the people that we try to raise money for. And I knew he was Filipino. You know why? I knew he was Filipino because he's a big fan of karaoke. CNN kept playing highlights of him singing karaoke. I said, yeah, he's Filipino, because Filipinos love their karaoke. I don't know what it is Americans are known for other than hot dogs and baseball and apple pie, but they love their karaoke. Let me check, see if anyone has had any mercy upon this show here. So do we have a $75 commitment out of the guy that wanted Tito Santana?
He said he was going to send you the money via one of those. No, it wasn't Tito. He wants the second. He wants the second KVE one. So.
Oh, he wanted. I'm sorry. He wanted the Kerry Von Erich. Well,
Kevin.
It has not posted as of yet.
Getting one from Kerry would be quite an achievement.
If he gets that, then we need more money for that.
Now, Todd Pillar says he's watching, but I haven't seen any donations out of him. What is the first name of the person that wants?
Sydney.
Sydney? Okay. Well, I don't have anything from Sydney as of yet. Ask him what format he's going to be sending his donation, because sometimes I don't get the email notification. Because I can't count it towards the tolls if we don't actually have it. Right. Billy, I know Billy's going to send his money. Why the hell is he writing you instead of me? I'm the king.
You probably blocked him on Facebook. Is probably why.
You do tend to forget that you block people.
You probably blocked him on Facebook for whatever reason at one point or other. So
you're accusing me of blocking people on Facebook now?
Yes, very much so.
I resemble that remark.
So we were talking earlier about the St. Louis wrestling, Herb, and there was a point where pretty much you had to go through St. Louis if you wanted any chance at being that NWA champion. You had to. It was like a grooming territory almost for that NWA championship. Not that kind of grooming.
Not be talking about grooming in the same sentence with Herb Simmons. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about some of the guys that came through there? I mean, the Harley race was it the U.S. Championship?
Real quick, Bob. I'm going to hold you up a second, Bob. Herb Simmons.
Why not?
Was Jerry? Shut up, Bob. Herb Simmons, was Jerry the King Lawler ever the NWA World Heavyweight Champion? Because I know the answer to this.
I don't remember.
All right. Here's kind of
it was for a very short time.
You are so right. Jerry Lawler wrestled Briscoe. Which Briscoe would that have been?
Jack
Briscoe in Memphis, Tennessee. Jerry Lawler won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from Jack Briscoe until the referee went over, raised Lawler's hand, and a chain fell out from Lawler's armpit, causing a reversal of the decision and a disqualification of Jerry the King Lawler. Lawler takes the belt, which no one knew he was going to do. Lawler, this is like 75 or 76. Lawler takes the belt, runs back to the locker room with it, and poses for pictures with him as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. And so the next week on television, when Lance is out there, they're talking about, yeah, Lawler, you came close there, but buddy, you got caught, partner. And Jack Briscoe still there. No, Lance, you got it all wrong. You got those promotional pictures. So can you show the promotional pictures? So they show all these pictures of Lawler with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. See, that belt is merely a trinket. I'm the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. The title is what's important. That belt is merely a symbol. It's a trinket. That's what Briscoe's got. I'm the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I remember that. I can't remember what I had to eat yesterday, but I remember Lawler's promo about that belt don't mean anything. I'm the champion. They raised my hand. I won the match. So he was champion very, very, very brief period of time.
Yeah.
And from what I was told, they didn't know Lawler was going to take that belt in the back with him. He's only 25 or 26 years old, and he's back there getting pictures to put out to everybody that he's the world heavyweight champion.
And that was after Sam had helped Jerry Jarrett become a member of the NWA.
Yeah.
Because
that's how I remember them in the early days, is that they were affiliated with NWA.
Yeah, it was
eventually somewhat with AWA, and then of course the CWA.
Yeah, and it was a toss up between him and Agulis, and in fact, the year that Jerry Jarrett was out in Las Vegas, he'd come up and introduced himself to me, and I thought, man, you know me, and of course we had a nice long talk, and he was telling me that story about how he owed a lot to Sam Muchnick for helping him with the NWA, because it could have went to the Gulas organization there, you know.
Yeah, could have. So I grew up because you were talking about a lawsuit against the NWA.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering if it was the National Weather Alliance Association that filed the lawsuit against the NWA, because that was the only two things that identified themselves as NWA was the National Weather Association and the National Wrestling Alliance. So because
there was a rap group that was
no one recognized the Panda Bears, WWF, but they won the damn lawsuit, which forced us upon WWE, and that happened while they were under contract with us, and we were told you cannot say WWF anymore. We're going to get in trouble. Yeah. And Cornette said, no, I ain't going to put over the goddamn Panda Bear. It's WWF. And then finally he had to cave in, and through threats from, I guess, Vince and JR and everybody else, no, you can't call it that no more. Because Jimmy didn't want to do it. He didn't want to put the Panda Bear over. So, who sued the NWA? I missed out on who sued them.
Wasn't it Jim Wilson?
Yeah, it was the paperwork. Back then, there was a congressman named Mel Price, and was personal friends to Sam Muchnick, and it kind of alludes to that relationship of it, the antitrust lawsuit, trying to monopolize. I mean, it's a very in-depth article that Sam was very proud of getting it set aside. I'll say that.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware of any of that.
Oh yeah.
We are up to 73 viewers now. It took them long enough, but we're up to 73 live viewers.
They ought to wake up from their naps.
Well, yeah. They should have some questions for us, man.
A lot of times the notifications go through late, and then we do have a lot of people, Mr. Herb Simmons, to just tell you the truth. We have a lot of people that are terrified to ask or say anything because they're scared we're going to ask them for a donation. So they just watch with their guilty quiet. Yeah, and they just be quiet. They they take your advice. They keep their ears open and they shut their damn mouths.
Well, but you see what happened.
Might ask them for a donation.
You see what happened when we asked for donation, and you got $100 and what some dollars with it.
Well, Bob might be getting worked because I have not seen.
No, he was asking me which address he should send it to.
Whatever one he wants.
I told him, look at the ones on the screen. There's a whole bunch of them there.
PayPal, if he sends it as a friend, we get every penny. Right. If he sends it, of course, we have the QR code there for the not-for-profit PayPal account. That is linked directly to Bolin Services Incorporated at Gmail. So that one is if you want to scan it, but they still charge a little bit of a fee for that. We do not get charged for fees at Venmo or Cash App. They do get 100% of the money that way. Donating in here, we've had some people do, but YouTube eventually, by the end of the month, gets 30% of that money. So that's why we prefer you donate the ways you see here, Cash App, Venmo, or 3 different ways to donate on PayPal, foodforfilipinos@gmail.com, Kenny Bolin at msn.com, which is the original PayPal account, and then the special separate account that is set up especially for the 501c3, Bolin Services Incorporated at gmail.com, and that's what the QR code goes to. So let me check, because for whatever reason, my email notifications have been crap lately. And let me see here. Well, do we have anything? All right. Sidney Martin was not working you. I told you he wasn't. I told you he's a good guy.
You said he was going to come through for you.
I told you, I told you, Bob. I said, Bob, shut up, keep your mouth shut and ears open, and Sydney will donate. Herb, did I not say that?
Best advice you've ever given.
Best advice ever given. So Sydney, thank you, Sydney, because I had my doubts. I thought we was getting worse. Good old Bobby. Now I don't know why Sydney. Now Sydney, have I blocked you on something?
How about?
I probably blocked.
Well, maybe.
I'd have blocked 85 people today with the day I had at the doctor's office today.
Yeah, the other thing is it could be that you don't really read your Facebook Messenger during the show, and
I don't do that as
so that might be why. So
well, wait a minute. Now you're going to get all lippy.
No, I'm just
and then there it is. You just on here wanting to start shit tonight, Bob. I don't know what's up with you. Why you do that? See how much fun Bob and I have.
So Bob,
you think Bob and I'd be a good fight on your card? Where'd Bob go?
I think he got mad.
Fell off the picture.
You think Bob and I'd be a good fight on your card there in St. Louis? Just put me and Bob in the main event.
He said, "Bye, Felicia."
Sydney says, "I have never." Well, there's Sydney.
I'll be the ref.
Bob recruited that donation, by the way, before he got pissed and left.
Yeah, I'm responsible. I am responsible for that donation, 100%.
And he said, "No one ever never blocked me."
No,
you're working at it, pal.
So, Bob, you were asking about some of the guys that came through St. Louis. You know,
sure.
Harley Race was a figure there forever. Probably one of the greatest of all times. Of course, you know, the Funks, the Briscoes, but, you know, people like Johnny Valentine, Gene Kaniski, Big Thunder.
Jimmy was a huge Valentine fan.
Oh,
well, that was David Von Erich's first outside of Texas big run was there in St. Louis. So
right, yeah. In fact, I've got that match of when they were setting up the big feud between him and Harley, and with Fritz and Kevin at ringside. That's on volume 2 of the Wrestling at the Chase volumes that we put out there.
That makes 2 of us, Sydney.
So, but yeah, so many of the greats. You know, of course, you know, Ric Flair got to St. Louis because of Larry Matysek. He saw a tape that Crockett had sent in, and as soon as he saw Pat O'Connor to look at him, and Pat said, "Oh, he's too small. He won't do no business here." And thank goodness Larry had smarts that he did. He called Sam and said, "Hey, I need you to stop by the studio. I want you to see something." And Sam come down and he said, "Get Crockett on the phone and tell him I want him in here." And the rest is history. And Rick talks about that all the time. It's even in his book, you know. So all the greats, you know. And then you get into the, you know, Bruiser Brody's and Ox Baker and people like that. You know, they all came through St. Louis.
Still, one of my most pleasurable memories in wrestling is when Jason Sanderson brought me up north, and he basically just let me and Ox Baker work each other, trying to sell each other our gimmick. And me and Ox just hit it off so good. I'd always been a big fan of his. Not normally the type of wrestler that I get into, but I was so entertained by him on Dick the Bruiser's television show in Indianapolis, Chicago. And one of the greatest things Ox Baker ever said is that he was in some match and it went to a draw. And Indianapolis/Chicago was known for the 12-minute draw. If it was 1 minute with a 15-minute time limit, that match was going 12 minutes because Jimmy started clocking them. Because I never paid no attention. I didn't know if it was 12 minutes, 15, or 18. I never knew. So Jimmy's timing them to see how long the matches actually go. And he says, "Watch this match." He's going to end in 12 minutes. And then sure enough, so the match ends in 12 minutes. Ox Baker gets out of the ring and grabs Sam Miniker, grabs him by the lapels of his jacket. "Miniker, give me 35 more seconds." He couldn't beat him in the 15-minute time limit. But if you just give me 35 more seconds, I'll beat this asshole.
Yeah.
And what a random ass number, 35.
That was a random, and I was 12 or 13 years old when I heard him say that, and I just died.
His daughter Megan is actually coming in for the FanFest, and
is she really? Tell her I said hello, and I just adore. I only got to meet him for that 3 or 4 days, but we traded phone numbers, and he would call me about once every 2 weeks, mainly wanting to come down and teach promos in Louisville. He wanted to teach promo class. And Jimmy says, "Man, you got Ox Baker calling you wanting a job, and I have to tell you to tell him no." He says, "How many people do we have that can do an Ox Baker promo?" I said, "Nobody." There's no one here. And the other one that used to call me wanting work all the time wasn't Handsome Jimmy Valiant. It was Johnny Valiant.
Yeah.
Blessed Johnny. And then Johnny would call me and he says, Kenny, once again, you have to tell Johnny we don't have it, because who can do a Johnny Valiant promo? I said, nobody.
Yeah. Did you ever hear, did I ever send you the tape that Ox, when I had him in one time, he sang his song that he wrote, Hillbilly Wrestler?
No, I don't think I have that. I remember that.
I thought I sent that to you. That was his last appearance.
It might have been when I blocked you for not bringing me in.
Yeah, it probably was. But
probably was. But you know, I got over it. I unblocked you about a year later.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what friends are for.
We get over it. That's what friends are for. But no, I'd love to.
That and borrowing money. That's the other thing friends are for.
133 live viewers right now. Most of them keep it quiet, but no, we do thank Sydney. And
they had it at 10 o'clock last time too. It just exploded.
I wonder what it is about 10 o'clock.
I don't know. Randy,
you're right. We had done about an hour show, and then we went up to
123 last time.
Yeah, 123, 124. We got 135 in here right now. So
I don't people that are on the delay or something. I don't know.
Something about the notifications, they go out late for some reason. I don't know. Maybe we should just start the shows at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. Randy, Kerry was never supposed to hold the belt. No. It was supposed to be David. And
it was a ceremonial type thing.
Yeah, it was a like, hey, here's just the tip of the cap, because David was supposed to have it and have a long run, from what I understand.
Oh, but, yeah, he would have.
When it was in Dallas.
It was in Dallas. It was at the David Von Erich, memorial show, and it was just it was a tip of the cap to those guys, and just a little payoff. And I think 2 weeks or 10 days was about as long as he had it. And Kerry was just not NWA champion material. He had a great look. He could not cut a promo. Kerry was terrible on the mic.
There were. It seems to me there were a couple of the Von Erichs that did not master the promo skills.
No, David had it all. David was the complete and total package, but fate had it otherwise. So
yeah,
because he turned around and Flair took it back from him.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons, for adding another photo of Kevin for me. Well. Now, do you want yours personalized or
he did? He did. There's a message in the PayPal. He said he wanted to get it autographed to Sid.
So. Make sure I get either send it to me or Bob.
I've got a note. I've got a note here to send it to her on next Thursday. Two photo autographs from Kevin. One just a signature.
Well, I guess it would be easier for him to just mail them from his place rather than to mail them to me. And then I'm going to sit on them for about 90 days.
Yeah.
So,
if you want Bob, if you want to provide me their address and that, I'll just ship them out from here.
All right. So Billy,
so if we get offers on the other ones, and I'm happy to reimburse you on your shipping or anything.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
What? All right. Let me rephrase that.
He said he's happy to.
I'll reimburse you for your shipping, but I ain't going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
that might be better. And Rebecca's saying hello. Rebecca is a loyal fan of the show here. Chimes in.
Hello, Rebecca.
Sometimes chimes in a little bit more than we like. Rebecca's had her health issues as well. She's been in and out of the hospital quite a bit lately. I was laid up for a while and didn't even do shows for about 3 weeks.
I said hi to you, darling.
Train not speaking to me. Well, if you quit hitting on him in front of his wife, he might. She was hitting on the man last time. She said, who's that train guy? I kind of like that. I want to ride that train, I think is what she said.
Hey.
She didn't, but it would have been a good
comment. If she's a wrestling fan, she's got to be great.
I'm telling you.
Becky Adcock and myself go back to the mid-'70s when Jimmy Cornette first started letting me sit in his chair when I was about 14, 15 years old. Becky Adcock, Lisa Mudd, who eventually became my girlfriend. Yeah, she was 16, but I was 17, so it was all right. Becky was probably 14 or 15, right around that time. And Becky had Farrah Fawcett hair. And everybody thought she was the most beautiful girl in the world, including many of the wrestlers.
I'm interested right now.
Yeah.
That's still in my wheelhouse.
14, now 60, I'm 65. So when I first met Becky, I was 17. maybe 18 years old. So she was 13 or 14 then. And there were some Memphis wrestlers that were rather interested in Becky Adcock back then because she looked about 17 or 18.
Wow.
She did not look like a 14-year-old girl.
Well, I doubt anybody ID'd in Memphis.
There was not a lot of IDing going on at the Louisville Gardens. We'll just say that. Not a lot of IDs being handed out. Randy, I lived in Florida when David was in Florida to learn to be a heel. David was under Dory's learning tree. I met Terry, God knows how many times. I love Terry to death. I only got to meet Dory once or twice. But do me a favor, Herb. When you see Dan the Beast Severin,
just one more request.
Hello, and say Kenny Bolin says he only took 3 belly-to-back suplexes in his career, and all 3 are from you. The funny thing was he came to IWA and he just belly-to-back everybody that was in the ring. That was me, Rip Rogers, Jason Lee, Trailer Park Trash. If we was in the ring with Ian Rotten, whoever's in the ring got belly-to-backed. Everybody comes to the back bitching and overselling because they said Dan hurt them. And so I'm back there and I said, well, I didn't get hurt. I said, I'm just fine. So Dan comes back there and everybody, Rip Rogers and everybody bitching about how bad they got hurt. He said, you know why Kenny didn't get hurt? He's the only one that took the thing right. The rest of you don't know how to take a bump. I had never been trained to take one. I just kind of went with it.
You just know how to fall sometimes.
I never took one before. So all these trained professionals who were trained, because I'm just a manager, I'm not trained to be a wrestler. And he come back there and cut a promo on everybody. The only one that took it right was Kenny. So every time he would come and do a show, you want to take a belly to back? I said, well, let's go till I get hurt. So I got 3 of them and turned out okay on all 3. But yeah, Dan, you was going whether you wanted to or not. You weren't going to fight the belly to back.
They don't call him the Beast for nothing.
No. Oh my God, he was him.
He actually tried to help me with a fundraiser about 20 years ago, and then we lost contact.
Did he really?
But yeah, he's about 21 years ago. Yeah.
Dan Severn and the 2 toughest men I ever met that I guarantee you I didn't want no part of, Dan Severn and Sly Turkey, and then of course you throw Mark Henry into that. And Chris said everybody he worked with, because Chris worked with Brock Lesnar and everybody eventually through training. And he said there was none of them that were just, he says, because Mark was bragging about he did his weightlifting. And he says, let me tell you, asshole, something. I did it clean. I was the world's strongest man. I did it clean. I didn't take anything. Chris said, that's a shame. Can you imagine what Henry had been like had he been on the shit that the Kurt Angles and
can you imagine the anger that would have came out of that, though?
Oh, my God. Well, he was angry enough as it was. He did not like being ripped. If you've ever seen that Stone Cold show, he'd go back, tear down the lights, flip shit over, threaten to beat people up. He got sent to Canada once because he was threatening to kill people in the back.
Well, he's threatened to kill Shawn Michaels, didn't he?
Oh, he hated Shawn Michaels with a passion. Oh, he was going to kill everybody in the clique. And he would have done it, too. There wasn't nobody in the clique going to stop him. So, but people like to mess with Mark, and we had to stop Mark once at a St. Therese show because somebody got in front of him acting like he was a gorilla and dangled a banana in front of him. Mark quit the match and went after them, and Jimmy's yelling at me from the crow's nest, "Get him under control!" I'm like, "What am I going to do?" You know?
Yeah. Stop Mark Henry.
So Danny and Jimmy and myself were all trying to get him off his fan because he's going to kill him. And Mark did not like being messed with, and especially didn't like the boys ribbing him. He hated it.
Well, he's a sensitive guy.
You know who he said to smartened him up and got him to calm down and understand what the business was about? We were doing the Eddie Gilbert Memorial in Cincinnati, and God help me think of his name. He was an agent, one of the greats that
Blackjack Lanza.
No, God damn it.
Tony Guerrero.
Well, that was actually kind of. I was thinking Blackjack Lanza.
No, it wasn't Blackjack. Who was the one that had all the great matches with?
Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky Steamboat. He said Ricky
I was
Steamboat.
Way back in the day.
He said Ricky Steamboat pulled me aside because me and Rico were at that show too, and we were like 5th out of 10th match or something. And he said Ricky Steamboat pulled me aside because me, and I forgot who he said he worked, but he said they went out there and tore the house. It was 2 big men. And he said the other guy was like 400 pounds. Forgot who it was. But he said, we tore the house down, and Ricky pulled me aside. He said, that's how big men work. And he said, if you get your anger under control, you're going to be around here for a long time. You're going to make a lot of money. And he said, he set me down, had a serious talk with me. and sparked me up to what the business was about. And he says, Ricky Steamboat's the one that did that. So did you ever work much with Ricky Steamboat?
Oh, yeah.
And we're only going to keep Herb here 6 more minutes because he's already done a doubleheader.
Why, you got to take medicine or something? What's the deal there?
He needs to take some medicine.
No, I was feeling bad for you.
Water pills kicking in.
Look,
You're
I'm trying
doing that day-night doubleheader. You had to put up with Bill After for an hour today.
But look, I'm trying to raise this some more money. So here's what we do, Bob. Why don't we add 2 more pictures, one of Bob Orton and one of Greg Valentine?
Well, that ain't bad. What the great thing is, because I've got a slew of autographs around here, I don't have any of the ones that you've named.
Well, then bid on them. Bid on them.
Yeah, Kenny, you can bid on them.
You see these T-Rex arms?
He's reaching.
Like the check just came.
He's reaching for the keyboard. He just can't. Those arms just
I
aren't
can't hit
long
the
enough.
keyboard. I can't
He's doing
reach
these
my pockets.
numbers.
The wallet's
Bobby-
way in the back.
Hey, Bobby's doing one of these numbers.
Exactly.
So
It's just out of my reach. I'm so sorry.
So who all do we have?
So we have
We got
Abby. We have
Tito
Abdul the
Santana.
Butcher. Chico Santana.
Chico's Revenge.
All right. Billy Sellers will bid $150 for both pictures, Bob and Greg.
Now, is that on top of the other one?
And $75 for the Kevins. That's $225, Billy, you're committing to.
Is that what you want to do, Billy, next month? And just give me a yay or nay. And Billy's good for the money. I'm not worried about it. Well, he hadn't said yeah. Quit putting words in Billy's typewriter. let Billy be the one to say, no, I was feeling bad for you, Herb, because I know you've already done that day-night doubleheader.
My time is your time now.
And you're at least 6 minutes older than me.
Here's I'm reading this message from Bill After. Thanks for having me on the show, my friend. Now, see, that's a friend.
Yeah, that is.
He does me a favor and he calls me and thanks me.
You know what? And that's how me and Scaramucci got to be friends. Is I'd never met him before, had him on the show. Figured I'd never hear from him again. He's working for Trump at the time. And he calls me after the show on my landline because they had my number in case he needed me. Calls me, I see the light up about 10:30 at night, says Anthony Scaramucci on it. I'm going, what the hell? And I answer, and he just told me, he says, man, I just want to tell you how much fun I had on your show today. I know politically you and I don't line up. I know you call yourself an atheist, but you're not. And I'm letting you know that. He said, but something drew us together today, Kenny, and you and I are going to be friends for a long time. How many years ago was that, Bob? 3-4 years, I guess. Around COVID?
5 years ago. Well,
Yeah,
no, gosh,
and,
it had to be longer than that because Mooch was still working for Trump at that point.
He was working for Trump in the first term.
6 or 7 years ago.
Holy cow, it doesn't seem like it should be that long. And we have been dear friends ever since. We text each other probably once or twice a week, talking political shit. And has just been the nicest guy in the world to me. And he's supposed to be back on later this summer. And I think it'll be his 9th or 10th appearance on the show. I'd have to look it up, but he's been on quite a bit. But like you said, Bill After takes the time to write you and thank you. And then I get this call from him telling me the first time he was on, we're gonna be friends for a long time.
So you need to say hi to Bill. He's watching us.
Oh, hi, Bill, Mr. Bill After. How you doing? Nice to see you. And here I was. I wish you'd told me. I wouldn't have been saying all those bad things about Bill After if I'd known he's watching. I talk behind people's back. I don't talk bad about them to their face.
He texted me. He said if you was his friend, you'd drive into St. Louis and be there for his show on May 16th.
God damn, he kind of hit hard there, didn't he?
Man, oh man, he got you right there now, don't he?
Bolin's been exposed.
And by the way, my daughter-in-law gave him the name of his podcast, and I don't think he ever took it. She named his show the After Party, not the After Party, but the After. I don't know if he ever took that or not. But Maya gave him the name. Maya loved
After Effect. See, the After Effect would have been
good. But yeah, she named it the After Party, and he liked it. I just don't know that he ever named any of his shows the After Party. And but no, Mr. After. If you were a real friend, I don't know where you live. You've never divulged that information to me. You say it's private, even though everyone else knows. You would drive down here and pick me up because I got the bad knees, the bad back, and the bad hip. You'd pick me up, maybe pull over 3 or 4 nice drive-thrus along the way. I'll treat you to Royal's Chicken here in Louisville.
Bring a trailer for Kenny's dogs.
Maybe Carrabba's, the McDonald's. Get bring a hitch trailer for the hounds because they go where I go. Ask Jerry Lawler. He knows. And Jimmy Hart. And is Jimmy Hart coming to this show this year?
No, he was at a previous engagement, so he's got to miss one. He's been at the last two, and
He did the last two, didn't he?
yeah, he was the first one I called, and he checked his
First
schedule.
one to turn you down.
Said Herb, I just can't do. He's been here so many times. I was going to get him registered to vote.
Well, yeah, one more trip. I think he'd been eligible, wouldn't he? But no, but hi, Mr. After, and I did his show 3 weeks ago. He never wrote me and thanked me for doing his show. I think he blocked me on Facebook and Twitter, and the only way we can communicate is through the show.
So, Bob, we got to get these listeners to bid so we can raise your money you want. So,
let's see here. Let's see what's going on.
Donations.
So Billy,
shave my head and everything for you.
Billy does say yes. Brandy Wells just started following me on something. Whoever Brandy Wells is, hi Brandy.
Well, tell Brandy to bid on a photo.
What we need is Brandy. Get your ass over here and start bidding on people that you're probably too young to know who they are.
Well, but they can Google them. That's the good thing about Google. Google Greg the Hammer
Valentine.
The
Google. It's let's see how this works. Computer. Who is Kenny Bolin?
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Bolin is a former professional wrestling manager and author. He was the lead villainous manager in Ohio Valley Wrestling, where
villainous? Is that what they say?
He managed the character Bolin Services. Was Bolin Services a character?
It's quite a character, all right.
Quite a character. Well, I got 3 flags hanging outside that say otherwise.
How much did it cost you to do that?
I was just getting ready to say that, Frank.
What did it cost me to do it? When you're world famous and you do good things around the world, the Alexa, I bet you Google knows me. Hang on. Hey, Google.
That was Google.
No, that was
you
my
said,
Alexa.
hey, Google.
That was my Alexa.
Hey,
no, I did not. I'll do it again. Computer. Who is Kenny Bolin?
Kenny Bolin is a former professional wrestling manager and author. He was the lead villainous manager in Ohio Valley Wrestling, where he managed the character Bolin Services.
Okay.
That must be a relation to you or something.
Yeah, I think that's why he couldn't pay you the appearance fee, Herb. He's spending money on doing that.
If I ask him who Herb Simmons is, they say who?
Hey Google, who is Kenny Bolin?
There you go.
There you go.
It shows me my picture. Not gonna bother with all the bullshit here. Is this you, sir? It just shows me my picture wearing the blue jacket and the red crown.
Jeez, Pete.
No bravado, no details. Hey Google, who is Herb Simmons?
Oh, jeez.
There you go.
Show me a picture of you. And show me a picture of you with Brody.
Probably.
Yeah. So you got more than I got.
Ask Alexa then who that is.
I bet we're gonna get some numbers now. Computer, who is Herb Simmons?
Here's what I found. Herb is the sales manager at radio station WKRP. Having been with the
Wait, isn't that?
You've been there since '66 at WKRP in Cincinnati.
I guess I never really knew his name.
Herb
or
Simmons.
his last name.
Well,
that was a distant cousin or something.
There you go.
Speaking of relatives that know who we are. Let's see here. What do we got?
Billy wants to know how much for a flag. I think the flags are exclusive right now, Billy.
The flags are exclusive because there's not much profit to be made. The double-sided BS. Oh, the mini flags. Well, if anybody orders my book, hang on here. Let me promote a couple of books while I'm at it. Give me a second. All right. The 10-year anniversary of my book, I Probably Screwed You Too, is July the 15th. That'll be 10 years since this book came out. So anybody that orders my book will get, hang on here, I got these cards that Bob had made. Give me a second. You get the boss card, and we've given a few of them out to our sponsors, and I've mailed a few of them out to people. So there's the boss card that Bob had made that we do to supporters of the show, our sponsors, and various others. I know it's hard. Bob, give me the big string. Herb's been hogging it the whole time. Give me the big screen there for a minute. So there's the boss card. And so anybody that orders my book or, give me a second here, my good friend,
or Burt Prentice's book.
Or Burt Prentice's book. I'm not selling any of those.
My dear close personal longtime friend.
Now I've got a friend of mine I'm having dinner with tomorrow night that worked for the CIA under the Reagan, Bush, and Clinton administrations. He worked for the CIA. He found he wanted to donate to my charity. I said, well, I got a good way for you to do it. I've got these Anthony Scaramucci books, and he just sent me 7 more books on top of the 30 he had already sent me. So he sent me 7 more, and there it is, Anthony Scaramucci, and they are autographed. Let me open it up just to prove that. Yeah, all the books are autographed there by Anthony Scaramucci, and we're selling 1 tomorrow at dinner. So that'll be $60 raised tomorrow. We'll count that on our next, I guess the Thursday, or this is Thursday, right? Guess we'll count that one on. We'll count that one on the Tuesday. We don't have that money yet. And so Anthony's book is $60, $65 if I mail it to you. Mine is $30 in person, $35 if I mail it to you. And they of course, are personalized. And so those are the books that we're selling. And if you do that, let me take that. We'll get one of these flags over here. I do have the mini flag. So if you order an autographed book of either Scaramucci or myself, we do include a miniature Bolin Services Incorporated flag, and you get a boss card. And I'm sure we got a couple other little bookmarkers around here that we can throw in that we sign as well that I think have me and Cornette from Golden Corral from our appearance there moons ago. 2 flags. Oh, yeah, we got 2 of them there. So, but I've only got about 10 or 12 of those flags left. So it goes for the first 10 or 12 people that order a book. Now we can give Herb the string back. Oh, and Billy Sellers says he is good for the 225, I guess no later than June the 3rd. What date you got for us?
Billy, send me your address, and I'll get your address and Sydney's address to Herb. I'll send that next week with the reminder of who's got what.
He's going to have those in the neighborhood of June anyway. So once we have Billy's money, we already have Sydney's money. So Sydney's ready to get his whenever. And then when Billy sends his money, we will give Herb the okay to ship those directly from you. And you mentioned something about and you can get us copies of this if you have it. If you got a couple of copies of the picture of Cena and Orton together, that would be great, because that's going to be a rare picture, and I'm even happy to have a copy of that of John and Randy together. If you still have,
just take a picture off the screenshot off the pay-per-view on Saturday. Just
thinking, Herbs are signed. The ones on my big screen TV will not be.
Yeah.
That I know of.
I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a picture of me and them together.
That'd be great too. Yeah, I thought you told me that. Well, I thought you told me you had one like that, didn't you?
No, not of us together. No.
I'm calling the bank tomorrow to figure out what's going on with my Venmo, and I'll send you some money. Well, honey, you know,
you go in there and kick some ass.
Sounds good, Billy.
My address to Kenny. Bob did not want Billy's address.
I didn't say that. I said send it to me, and he said no. I don't. Billy's like, I don't trust Bob with my address. I only trust Kenny with my address.
So how much?
Bob, you are a bit of an untrustrustworthy individual. You know.
So Bob, how much have you raised?
So we have. We got 150. We've got 300. We have $350, $365, counting Jaded Zen.
Man, I ought to get a gold star.
You should.
You should.
So Herb, let me ask you this: I know it's a little early to ask. Do you plan on doing the FanFest next year, or do you think this is going to be it?
This is going to be it, probably.
Oh, for sure, really.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, of course, I've told my wife that.
That means I'll never get to appear at one.
Well, no, and again, you know, look, I'm going to be 72 years old in July, and I'm still doing shows every month. And
Hope was 88 until JD Vance killed him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I truly love.
Thought you'd like that.
He glossed right over it.
Yeah, just do not. Just don't invite JD Vance to any of your shows,
Just
Herb.
don't invite JD
I don't
Vance
think
here,
I
man.
don't think we have to worry about that. But I just think that it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's but I got a great group of guys that help me. I got a support group. My son, daughter-in-law.
How old's your son? How old's your son, by the way?
The one that's really involved in wanting to learn a lot more is now you're at 40 something.
40. Mine's 38.
Yeah, and my kids, I ruined a couple of my boys because when they were growing up, they were putting the ring up, they were doing the ring stuff and taking the jackets back and ringing the bell. But my son Jason and his wife have really been a big help. And but I got a great locker room. But we do a lot of shows a year, like I said, for these nonprofit organizations, and now with NASCAR, helping them out, and so it's a lot of work, and plus I still work a full-time job, and but
what is your full-time job, if I may? Mine's booking hotels.
I'm the 911 and EMA coordinator for the county.
Sounds like a cheesy job.
I've been the mayor for over 40 years of my town here.
You have been. You've been mayor there a long time, longer than Sean Casey in Cincinnati.
Yeah, people ask me, don't you believe in term limits? And I said, yep, every 4 years.
There you go.
So for 40 years, you just keep getting voted in every 4 years?
Yeah, every 4 years they have elections, and I just got reelected for another 4 years, and I've got a great little community here. I've got a great.
That's pretty impressive, man. In this day and age, to keep getting voted in.
Yeah, it's almost close to 50.
You're doing something right.
Well, I said that earlier. I said, when you said the word politician, I said, there's a difference in politicians and public servants.
But there certainly are. There's no doubt about that. I got a question for you. Now, does the mayor's job there? Does it come with a salary? And I'll tell you what it is in Louisville.
Yeah, it does. And then, we're a little river community. It sits right on the banks of the Mississippi. Small community, small rural bedroom community. We're 10 minutes from South St. Louis, 15 minutes from downtown St. Louis from the Gateway Arch. So, we don't have a lot of tax base. So I've got a group of residents that live here, the generation after generation, that the heritage of their grandparents and them has just been passed down, and it's a lot of farm ground, and but everybody looks out for one another, and it's great. But sooner or later, Herb's got to slow down, and
I hear you there, man. I hear you there.
Maybe start my own podcast.
Everyone else got one. Billy Sellers got one. Billy just started one a couple of days ago.
Oh, did you? Okay, good.
That'll kill you. That's for sure.
Podcast world now. Everybody who watches this show eventually starts a podcast.
If you
Bill
do
Bill After didn't have one till I had one. Bill ripped me off.
I can't
go, Bill.
Well,
Jimmy Cornette didn't have one till I had one. Bob Hazelwood didn't have one till I hired him. You're not going to count that one you used to be on, are you? You going to count that one?
It counts.
All right.
We actually had you on as a guest.
Right?
No, we had you, Kenny, on as a guest. That's when the show ended. It killed the show.
Killed the town.
I kill podcasts the way Cornette kills territories.
That's right. So, Herb, not putting any pressure on you, but if you do a show next year, I'm coming up to see it. So.
Oh, okay.
I will too.
I may have to do it just to get Bob up here.
There you go. I'm coming to St. Louis.
But
I'll make it too. Actually,
no, wait a minute. Wait, I'm going to stop this crap right now just to make sure he don't.
I am not going to Louisville.
If you do one, I'm coming now.
Oh, damn it! I didn't do that idea.
But Kenny, we do our little TV show, old school TV studio, and that's another animal of its own.
I can imagine.
We're on the YouTube channel. We got a little TV out of St. Louis we're on, and so I've got a guy that helps me post edit all of that. But putting the TV show together is another thing that is got to be timed right for the commercials and that's why I said
I couldn't do any of that stuff.
Well, that's why I said I got a good group of guys in the locker room, and then we got guys that come in from all over. I mean, I got guys going to be in this battle royal that from Bruiser Brody coming in from the East Coast, West Coast.
Who's the biggest name that's in the battle royal that we might know?
Shane Douglas.
Oh yeah, I remember. I knew Shane.
Franchise. Shane Douglas, Beer City Bruiser is going to be in it.
I actually just met his sister the other day.
The Beer City Bruiser?
Yeah, she lives down here.
How the hell did you meet the Beer City Bruisers?
We just
Arizona.
Well, we just struck up a conversation at a party, and we just got to talking. She has a brother, a professional wrestler, and Beer City Bruiser. He's in Italy right now, from what I understand.
I want to see if you know this hotel, because I keep forgetting. Coltrane lives out in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Mm-hmm. I just booked 11 days for my company to appear at a hotel in Tempe, Arizona. How far from Tempe are you? I'm guessing 19,
about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes. I just booked us for 11 days at the Moxie Hotel in Tempe, Arizona. Are you familiar with that hotel?
Never heard of that one.
The Moxie, and they got us a great deal, and that's why we did 11 days. That we're going to do 11 days starting tomorrow.
I was thinking of Roxbury when you said that.
At the Moxie Hotel in Tempe,
John
Arizona.
Moxley Hotel.
There you go.
And it's Moxie, and it's MOXI, the Moxie Hotel.
Beer City Bruiser was a big Bruiser Brody follower, and so he's coming in and be a part of the Bruiser Brody Battle Royal, and but it's just it's going to be a great show. I think if you guys ever make it up, or if I do it again, I'd like to have you, because I get told it's a class act. I mean, I think it's just another fan fest, but I think you should commit to one more so that you can tell everybody I once actually got the real king to come to do one of my shows, and have Jimmy Hart there so he can have the honor of being there standing behind the real king with the real crown. I think that'd be a great thing. Well, we surprised Jimmy, gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award, and Jimmy
ever do?
Try not to.
Jimmy,
too often.
Jimmy's never lost for words, but we were able to get him quiet.
Oh man! No, he was so good to me and my son in Evansville. I hadn't seen Jimmy since the 70s.
Yeah,
that's the last time I'd seen him, and I remember I used to make audio cassette tapes of their interviews.
You haven't seen him since the 70s?
Yeah, I had not seen Jimmy Hart since the 70s. That was back when he first started managing Lawler. And he would meet me at the gas station. Me, Hart, and Lawler would go to the McDonald's here in Louisville, while Dundee and all the other wrestlers would go to the liquor store. Well, none of us drink. I don't think Hart drank. He never went with those guys. He always
he's a teetotaler.
He never drank.
I never saw him drink in Evansville.
So
that's why he's 80-something right now.
So I would record audio tapes of Lawler's promos on cassette. And then make copies of them, and I'd give them to Jimmy Hart, and he would make sure that him and Lawler listened to them on the way back to the towns to hear their promos and see what they wanted to change, what they liked, and what they didn't like. And because there wasn't any videotape at that point. Video didn't come until the late 70s, early 80s. And so I gave Jimmy Hart quite a few audio tapes back in the day. So I hadn't seen him, probably since the late 70s or early 80s. So Evansville, Jimmy ain't changed. He's 82 years old, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, birthday's on New Year's.
And he hasn't changed a bit. He's still got all the energy, he could go out and manage a match now, and you'd hardly notice it's any different.
Yeah, I mean, he comes in, helps set up the ring, helps set up the chairs. Yeah.
Well, when we were in Evansville, he was out there having breakfast early in the morning. Hell, Lawler and none of them have gotten up yet. So Chris goes down. I hadn't gotten out of bed yet. Chris goes down. He says, Dad, I was just down the lobby, and Jimmy Hart was out there. Hey, baby, come on over here and have breakfast with me. So Hart invites my son over to have breakfast. He says, Dad, that might be the nicest man I've ever met.
Did you ever hear his music he plays?
I've heard some of it. Jimmy Hart, Gentry's, and
Gentry's, yeah.
And he did Hang On Sloopy, didn't he? For those that know that song, didn't Jimmy Hart and the Gentry's do Hang On Sloopy?
Yeah, I think they did a version of it. He did. The one he really did was
Keep on Dancing.
Keep on Dancing. Yeah. And of course, Rick Dees was also from the Memphis area too, wasn't he? That went on to be a pretty big name on television and radio. Rick Dees. Yeah. And I think he was a disco duck for those of you that might want to reflect back on that a little bit.
Yeah, I was 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were 5 when Disco Duck came
I think
out.
so. When in 83 or something like that?
Probably 16, I guess. 15 or 16 when Rick D Disco Duck. Oh. And if you haven't heard it, do that. You'll want to hear Disco Duck.
I had the 45.
I had the 45.
You were spinning that vinyl, man.
Oh,
Yeah, I had the 45.
Still superior sound.
Yeah, the first album I ever got was Chicago. Meanwhile, back no, that was a CBS special. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. The first ever 45 I got was Chicago's "Feeling Stronger Every Day," and I played it so much I wore it gray. Had to go back and buy another one. But the needle on my turntable wore that record because I'd play it every day. My dad hated the song "Feeling Stronger Every Day" because I would just play it all day long. And then I've found some Chicago albums in a dumpster. I think some girlfriend broke up with a boyfriend and threw all his Chicago albums in the dumpster because I don't know a lot of girls, especially in that age group, that were big Chicago fans, but a lot of guys were. And so I go down there, and there's like 4 Chicago albums in the dumpster in the mid 70s and early 70s, 74, 75. And so I think some girlfriend threw some guys' records away is what happened. So I climbed up in the dumpster and I got all those Chicago albums and took them home. And they played just fine.
So that is the Gentrys. That is Jimmy Hart in the middle row on the left.
Middle row
with the
on
big
left.
hair.
Yeah.
You know what? I could not have picked.
Oh, I
Jimmy
can see
Hart
it now.
I can see
I
it
could
once
not-
I
could
know
not
that
have
that's
picked-
him.
Right.
You said that Jimmy in the middle row on the left because I was sitting
The
there
one
trying
with
to
the biggest
figure out
hair.
which one was him and I couldn't do it. Holy
Yeah.
shit! Yeah, that is not.
That is the
Jimmy Hart.
Gentrys, 1965.
The guy at the top right is pretty unfortunate looking there.
Yeah, because he's substantially older than Lawler. Both went to Memphis State, I think. I think Hart went to Memphis State as well. Lawler went there on an art scholarship.
So keep on it. Herb, tell us how people can get tickets to your stuff, where they can find your stuff. Give us your website. Give us
SICW.org is the simplest way. It's on there. The packages are there. You know, if you want to come and see just the Bill Apter show on Friday night, or if you want to do the bundle package, which gets you
So Bill could literally pick me up and take me there, right?
No. Bill comes from way, way far away from you.
Yeah, but on the way, right?
You don't know where I
Like
live,
on the
and you
East
don't
Coast?
know where. You are working me, Mr. Herb Simmons, because you don't know where I live, and you don't know where Bill Apter lives.
You've only seen
He
me
lives
13 times.
He lives a long way from you. Yeah.
He lives a long way.
Oh, Cornette lives a long way from me. He lives 4.5 miles away.
But SICW.org, like I said, it's on there. I mean, you can get the whole bundle package, which takes in the Friday night, the FanFest during Saturday, the Hall of Fame that evening, plus the wrestling that night. So it's real easy to do. You can go in there and pay it, and if you buy the Bill Apter show Friday night, when you come for that, you'll get your packet for the whole day, for the whole weekend. That way, there you don't have to stand in line on Saturday, and you'll be able to get in there and start early. And we'll start everything.
How big of a crowd are you expecting?
Millions.
And millions.
He asked me what I was expecting, so I said,
well, we're expecting about 400 million.
I'm expecting millions, but I'll take whatever.
Take a couple thousand.
The good Lord sends me, I'll take.
I had a relative of mine earlier today said that there were 380 million people that possibly could have voted for Trump. I said, okay, well, number one, we don't have 380 million people in this country. It's closer to 327 million. And I'm just going to throw a guess out there. Half of them aren't old enough to vote.
Yeah,
just a guess.
And then we can take it down a little further. How many of those are registered to vote? So I think that 380 million number he felt me dramatically goes way down.
Might have been ambitious.
And registration.
So I know the hotel is happy. So they've had last week when I checked with them, they had 47 different states that had people.
Oh my God!
Wow. Which is good.
Vegas drew in 180,000 people, and they were bragging about where everybody was coming from. That's pretty impressive for a local event.
Oh yeah,
to do 47 states.
Yep. So
anybody from Kentucky going to be there?
Yes. Yep. Got Kentucky. Got Louisiana. Texas. but I hope it's more than one person coming.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go. But
47
there's
people.
only one person from each state game. That's still pretty impressive.
I hope a lot of them's carpooling together. But so that would be good. And but the hotel, the Hilton, like I said, it's the Cadillac from where we were the last 2 years. So and being at the airport, I think it's really easy for the talent that's coming in. I mean, last year you got to remember, I made about 60 trips from the airport to the hotel, and then I had to get them out of town on Sunday. And
yeah, when I book our sales reps, I always book the airport hotels, airport Hiltons quite a bit. And someone asked me, why do you always book the airport hotels? So it was easy for our people. They fly in, there's the hotel.
Yeah,
you know, we try to make it as easy for them as we can. Yeah,
the shuttle runs every 15 minutes, and I mean, the last 2 years, we literally stayed there at the hotel because some of the guys were leaving out of town early Sunday morning. Like they had to be at the airport at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And so, but this is going to be logistically, it'll be a lot easier. And so I'm hoping that takes a little stress off of myself and the staff and my wife. And but again, I'm a perfectionist to the fact that I want everything to run like clockwork, and if not, then I get upset and get cranky, and then I have to take a chill pill.
See, that's where you need me to help you with your shows, Mr. Simmons. It's good enough. I used to have to do that with Jimmy all the time. Jimmy would lose his mind because somebody would blow a line or blow a spot. Jimmy come in the back, just lose his damn mind, and go and put my arm around him and say, Jimmy, you know who knows that spot got blown? You're the one that wrote it. Nobody out there knows. Nobody knows. Nobody gives a shit. Even if they did know, they don't give a shit. It ain't worth the heart attack you're about to have.
Yeah.
Calm down. Nobody gave a shit. This is a learning school. We're here to learn. Everybody here is here to learning. So teach, but nobody out there gives a shit. Nobody knows. You're the only one that knows that they said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing.
Rebecca asked where it's at.
And still, more often than not, didn't do that much good to calm him down, but I would try anyway.
Rebecca, we're talking about it. It's in St. Louis, Missouri.
And it's not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that.
Well, I tell you what Becky's doing. She's basically dumping Coltrane because she found out the boy's married, and almost happily. That's been hitting on Herb Simmons the whole show. I've been seeing what's going on. I ain't blind.
I'm not
lost to the better man.
I'm not married. My wife is.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
that's
a common answer. Yeah, I'm not married. My wife is married. So, yeah. Right. Well, who's going to turn down a date with 1975 Farrah Fawcett? It ain't me.
Not me.
No.
Yeah, no, none of that. I wish I could tell you who was really fancied her a lot, but I can't.
He lives by me.
He does live by you. He does. He's not that far from you.
Oh, yeah. He's about 15 miles from me.
Let's see here. And let's see. We still have 132 people.
It's not over her baby, so you're still safe, Train.
All right.
See if we got anything.
All right.
Billy did send me his donation. It's Brandy Wine that sent me a friend request, but she never did donate or anything. So
whatever.
Just seeing if we got any last second. So now remember, Billy Sellers' money is not coming until sometime in June. So if you're watching the show late, we've got the tea makers and the good Chris's and the various others that watch the show sometimes late.
How many people are watching?
131 as of right now.
Okay, so out of 131, and how much, Bob, you said 365 roughly?
Yeah, so roughly about that, yeah.
Okay, so come on now. 131 people. Somebody on there is going to want to have an autographed picture.
And let's name those again real quick before we wrap up. So what all is up for auction? And then if they're watching the recorded version, and there will be hundreds later on that will watch the recorded version.
Yeah.
I was waiting to see if Bill Apter made a bid. He might want to Kamala the Ugandan giant picture or something.
Yeah, could be. We've got a commitment for Tito Santana, commitment for Abdullah the Butcher, plus the ones and I'm sure that if someone wants a Kevin Von Erich, Herb will just say, Kevin, give us about 10 pictures, and Kevin would grumble and
somebody's got to want a Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, I'd love it. There's
another one. That's another one I don't have is Rock and Roll Express. As much as I worked with them, I do not have a Rock and Roll Express. And I never got a Jimmy Hart. I was having dinner with a guy every day for 3 days, never bothered to pose for a picture with him or get a picture.
But that's how I am. I'm in the moment, and then after the fact,
back in the day, you weren't really supposed to do that. But I guess when you're all retired, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Everybody's dying too.
Now, Jackie Fargo did pose for a picture with me. I got him on a Polaroid around here somewhere. And I remember Jackie come up to me because he's seeing all the boys going over their spots and going over their matches. And I didn't know Jackie. I mean, I'd seen him a million times, but had never talked to him. And he comes up to me and says, Kenny, what are they doing to my business? I said, what you mean? What the hell are they doing? They're all in the locker room going over the match. Don't anybody call the matches in the ring anymore? I said, well, some, but not very many. They all got to go over their shit. And he's just shaking his head like he couldn't believe it. He says, like when me and Bobby Heenan did the thing in the ring, we didn't know what the hell we were going to do. And he was just, and Bobby was seeing everybody in OVW going over their shit. And he says, Kenny, he says, we're not going to do that, are we? I said, no. I said, what are we doing? He says, I got a package for you. I got a special gift. I'm passing the torch to you. Do you need to know anything else? I said, I think I got it. He says, we'll be fine. So we go, and we had not a clue what one was going to say to the other. And it's probably one of the better promos we'd ever done because it just flowed so good. I knew what my job was. He knew what his job was. And I did my first ever dive through the ropes because I knew that's what he wanted. He took his jacket off. He's going Toro. Well, I can't leave him hanging, even though I've never done the dive through the ropes before. I said, well, I'm the fat manager. If I crash and burn, that's fine. And if I go through okay, then that's fine too.
So you remember to grab the rope, you're fine.
So I went through and it turned out pretty good. And Danny and Jimmy were popping in the back like, I didn't know he could do that. So I get to the back. I said, I didn't know I could either. I said, I've just seen it done a lot. So
sometimes survival kicks in.
Yeah, survival kick. Yeah, and I think that's what it was. Survival kicks in. But no, I've never done that before. You know, the fat manager never had a reason to do that. But Bobby was waving his coat. Well, I can't just leave him there waving his coat. Like, yeah, I can't do that. So I got to, okay, here comes the bull. And then he pulls the coat away and through the ropes I go, and that was it. And Bobby got the big pop. So. Well, I think we just got a run in from the person that you're not married to, didn't we?
Yeah. No, here, Bruiser.
Oh,
she's over.
Oh, the single lady.
She's over here going, wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Start playing the Academy Awards music.
Come here.
Play them all.
Come here.
What we got?
Come here, Bruiser. Heel.
Oh, my God, the dog's name's Bruiser.
This is my 120-pound.
Oh,
Come here.
God. Well,
Look up
I
in
thought you
there.
were going to pull up a chihuahua.
Come here.
oh, my God. Look at that.
That's Bruiser. I had Bruiser and Brody, and Brody passed away. This is Bruiser.
Oh, well, how old was Brody when he passed away?
He was at Belgium Malinois, and he was about 10 years old.
Okay.
This is a 4-year-old, and
yeah.
Oh, they just go until they drop, don't they?
Oh yeah.
Is that what it is? That's a big ass dog right there. Yeah, I've got the Great Dane who will be 6 in November. Choco will be 13 in March, and Tucal will be. Come here, Choco. Come here, Choco. Come up, say hi. Come on, don't be shy. Come on, Choco. Can anybody see Choco?
Yeah.
Is she just kind of
his collar?
Yeah, you can see her collar. Well, she's very dark. She's been sick for a couple of days, but she's doing much better now. Of course, when Scooby's here, he's as tall as I am. Everybody sees Scooby. But no, none of my dogs weigh 120 pounds. My biggest dog's about 90 pounds.
Bruiser.
Speak.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. And now my neighbors are awake. So
Bruiser, let me tell you something. Keep your ears open and your yappers shut.
Yeah.
the best advice.
Yeah. Mama spoils him.
I bet. Well, I kind of spoil these around here too, which is another reason why I guess we better wrap up because I got 3 dogs that are telling me they got to get ready to go out. So I got to get them out there.
If you're watching this show afterwards and you want one of those
some of you are
pictures, Abdullah, Tito Santana, reach out to Kenny afterwards. We'll get a hold of her. We got to do it before Thursday next week. So
before Thursday next week, if you would like one. Let's keep the bids at least around the $75 mark because they will personalize these if we want them to, right?
Right.
Yep.
There you go.
You know, and the Dory Funk Jr. You know, this is his last trip. He won't. He won't be coming back. So,
yeah.
What is he? 84, something like that.
Yeah, he still goes to Japan every year and does.
Yeah, I saw he just wrestled last month.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? At 84,
no, he's still active.
I didn't know that.
Bob Orton still wrestles.
Does he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, him and Tony Atlas were my champions.
Still has a cast on his arm.
And also, please make sure to
his
tell
arm's
Bob.
Still broke. Yeah, Bob.
Still broke. Make sure to tell Bob how much fun I had when he came up here to Louisville and him and Randy took on Cena and Rico with me as their manager, and that was so much fun. And I think Bob got 5 minutes with me at the end of the match. So, but that was a ton of fun. And then Bob was always a class act when he come up here. So do tell him I said
the first card I've ever
how proud I am of his son. And I do text Randy about once or twice a week. He never texts back, but no. Randy, as a matter of fact, when we were communicating with each other on Twitter, he says, Kenny, I'm a texter. He says, let me give you my cell phone number, which Randy and I didn't always get along when he was here. So, but he says, yeah, Kenny, we've grown up. You and I are fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So
we should reach out to Punk because I heard he's grown up quite a bit too.
And
I bet you guys would get along now.
Well, politically we would, but he claims he's a cornet guy. And so Jimmy may not like it if
now,
he becomes
maybe CM
maybe that'll
be the guy who bridges.
Be the one to get us back together, right? Well,
yeah. Hey, you never know.
If anybody wants to instigate that, but apparently Jimmy mentioned me on the show a couple of days ago, and they said it seems like he misses you, Kenny. I was like, well, all right, he knows where I'm at. You know, I've done my part. Yeah. Man's dog died, and I called him and cried. I mean, shit.
I'm going to send Stacy a friend request on Facebook, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, good luck with that one. You'll be blocked tomorrow. Well, Herb, I can't tell you how much fun it always is to have you on the show, especially this time of year when you and Dutch collaborate to make sure I don't show up, and I'm getting tired of that. So we might have to go one more. One more. Now, what will be your official last year as mayor?
Do what now? I'm sorry?
What will be your official last year as mayor?
I just got elected for 4 more years.
So
when they stop voting for him,
2029, I guess we're looking at.
I'm right at 48 years.
Damn, that is. Are there any other mayors that have gone as long as you? Anywhere?
They say, I don't know this to be a fact, but they say I'm the
longest reigning mayor.
Yeah.
That is almost as proud as being the longest reigning intercontinental champion. That's right up there with that.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Hey, that guy lives close to me too, by chance.
The reason I asked you if your job was a paying job, my son was going to run for mayor in Louisville, but he was going to be like a heel mayor. He was going to wear leather coats, cut promos, cuss. I told him I didn't think it would work. There's too many Bible people that go against you. He thought it would work. He thought it would work. But he decided not to because he ended up leaving the country. So and then the other reason we found out he was running for mayor, the mayor in Louisville, now this was like 6 years ago, $136,000 a year 6 years ago. Now that might be up now. I don't know.
So the longest reigning current mayor in the United States is the mayor of Mackinac Island, Michigan, Margaret M. Dowd. She has been in office for 50 years now.
How many people are in that town? Man. Her family.
So, well, I don't want to promote violence or anything, but if we can get somebody to go to Mackinac, Michigan, and off her, then 2 years from now, Herb will be the reigning intercontinental champion.
Hey, there's one more name I forgot to mention as I'm going through my list here. Matt Riddle is joining us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember. Matt was in WWE not long ago. How's Matt doing these days?
Well, I mean, he's okay. You know, him and Randy Orton were tagging for a while.
I think he and I could have some.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, him and Matt were kind of tied at the hip there for a little bit.
Bro.
And I think I mentioned
Arcade Bro. That's what it was. Arcade Bro.
I mentioned the Boogeyman. Boogeyman's going to be with us. So Missy Hyatt.
Boogeyman's a dear friend of mine. He's even though we haven't got him on the show yet, he keeps telling me he's always going to do the show, and we never get him on.
Well,
tell Boogeyman how much fun you had. You can lie. You can tell Boogeyman you had fun. And tell him I said hello. He's always been so nice, though.
So is there gonna be a night only Bob and Train do the show?
No.
It's happened like twice.
They've done it before. Yeah. And normally it turns out I owe money at the end of those shows.
That's the night I'll tell Marty to get on.
There you go.
Yeah, tell Marty to get his butt over here.
Bolin.
He's always very sweet, and he's always telling me, I got to do your show, Mr. Bolin. He never does. So we tell him we got to get that work. He would be a great guest.
Yeah.
So give him my love. Tell him I think the world of him, and he was always.
Oh wait.
Here we go. That's right. It's Bolin, and I don't mean Bolin. Bolin, you gotta get me on your show, man. Love you so much, brother. I tell these guys, man, Bolin was when it all started. That's right, man. But you wouldn't let me be a part of it. What was it? Bolin makes songs, Bolin services. Why did you never get me into Bolin services? Well, we'll discuss that on your next show.
How many years ago was that, Bob?
I know, it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
No,
4 years ago.
Than that,
and you saw it, Herb. You just say, Mr. Marty, I saw you say, Mr. Bolin, you got to get me on your show. 4 years ago, you wanted on Mr. Bolin's show. You wanted to confront me to find out why he wasn't in Bolin Services. I could tell him because Jimmy wouldn't let you be in Bolin Services. It's all Jimmy's fault.
Well, I tell you, you guys have too much fun.
We try. We certainly try. But no, Boogeyman was great, and I was mainly commentating when he was here. But he was so much fun, and no one knew he was in his 40s, and they didn't pick him from Tough Enough because they found out how old he was, and he just more or less just kicked him to the side. But turned out
I remember that episode. Was he 45 at that time or something like that?
Still looks awesome. Still looks awesome.
Kind of gives me hope to start again, but I'll break.
Rebecca says I sent Kenny a picture, but I guess he's not going to show it.
Well, I can't show it. Bob blocked Becky, I think. So I don't think we got it.
Hey, Becky, send me a picture. I'll show it.
Yeah, Becky, you always send me your nudes, and I don't look at those because I'm a Christian boy. I don't do that.
I'll look.
No, I don't have any way to do that, honey. Bob's the technical genius over here. Maybe. But then again, Coltrane, he's got some skills. Coltrane, send me them pictures.
I've got some skills. Boogie is awesome, and I love this. You know, the one thing I want to know from Boogeyman is it true that if you have your blanket all the way around you, he technically can't touch you, but if like one toe hangs out, you're in extreme danger of the Boogeyman getting you?
Oh, boy.
That's, growing up, that was always the thing. If the Boogeyman was coming, you put the cover on, you were safe.
They always told me the witches were going to get your toes.
Yeah, if they poke out.
They always told me the show was going to never end. That was
tell Boogeyman I want an autographed picture for the show too. We want one. And tell him I want one personalized Kenny Starmaker Bolin with him begging me to be on my show.
Well, if I get a picture of him, that ought to be worth $100.
I did not block you.
You didn't, but
you're not blocked. They're lying.
And if Boogeyman makes his way back to Louisville again, tell him just pick a sponsor and we're going to go have dinner. That way I don't have to pay for it.
I need his diet and workout.
Kenny, you're going to get the reputation of being cheap.
Yeah, well,
Nick
Gould hired me, and I learned from Jerry Jarrett. Now you tell me.
Wow. You mean to say you played at the pool hall?
Maybe. Possibility. Well, Mr. Simmons, thank you so much for coming on. I always have so much fun when you're on. We've dropped all the way down to 83 people. They finally said Kenny's been teasing closing a show for about 45 minutes now. So,
as long as you raise some money, that's what it's all about.
Well, there you go. And
look at all the flies heading to Becky right now.
Yeah, after the show, we might get a few bids on. Bob and I will, if we do anything over the weekend, we'll remind everybody what pictures that we have available. The great thing is that Herb Simmons is going to mail them to you instead of me, which means you might actually get them eventually, rather than waiting 90 days for me to get motivated to go to the post office and do it. So it's actually working out in your favor.
Yeah.
If you want to personalize, let us know. Make sure to give us the address and everything. And I wish you the best of luck, man. I hope you do a fourth one, because if I'm still in the country, and health reasons might keep me here, because if my knees, back, and hip won't let me go to the Philippines, I want to go there for at least 90
days. You could take a pontoon there.
Could take a pontoon. I get there eventually if the current is right. But if I'm still in the country, and if you do one more, I got commitments from Bob and Coltrane.
I will go.
I am going.
I'll find somebody to get me there, and I will be there.
Okay, guys. Well, I appreciate the invite. It's always fun. And hopefully your viewers, listeners tonight enjoyed it. And who knows, maybe some of them will come to St. Louis.
You never know. They know about the show and they know who else is going to be there. And guys, there's going to be a lot of big names there, and it ain't too late to get your tickets. Bob and I will be posting the website. We will share Herb's Facebook promotions of the event and make sure everybody knows how to be involved. So until possibly Saturday night, but if not Saturday, definitely next Tuesday night. It's nerd night for Bob. You won't see him, but me and the train might be here.
I'll be here.
But until then, Tuesday night, 9:00 p.m. If you see us Saturday, glory hallelujah. But until then,